Welcome to Ced Talks, where we separate fact from fiction. Method of omit every time. This that Ced Talk, yeah, we said it straight. Cut through the noise, elevate the debate. No pseudo talk, no foggy claims. Just evidence-based when we build these frames. Ced Talks, yeah, clarity first. If it ain't got method, it probably won't work. From ancient knowledge to modern science, we draw that line, that clear define. They say the ancients had science. Hold up, pause. Knowledge ain't the same as methodological laws. Observation, yeah, but control tests rare. No predictive models, you gotta be fair. We respect the past, but we keep it exact. Precision matters when you deal with facts. Astronomy grew, astrology split. One stayed empirical, one lean myth. The shift came through naturalistic method. Just and revise, that's how we embed it. Not culture bound, not tied to a place. It's a universal tool for the human race. This got Ced Talks, yeah, you said it straight. Cut through the noise, elevate the debate. No pseudo talk, no foggy claims. Just evidence-based when we build these frames. Ced Talks, yeah, clarity first. If it ain't got method, it probably won't work. From ancient knowledge to modern science, we draw that line, that clear defiance. They blur definitions, start moving the goalposts. Turn fried to a claim that don't hold close. Science ain't on, this a process refined. Independent of culture, space and time. You can't redefine it to fit identity. That's how you lose all epistemic integrity. We test every claim, we don't just believe. If it can't be verified, we don't receive. From early observers to labs today, it's rigor and doubt that paved the way. Not name dropping scholars to win a debate, but data and method that validate. So what's your ideology? That's cool to ask, but truth ain't decided by the loudest class. We question it all, no sacred ground. If it don't hold up, we break it down. This that Ced Talk, yeah, we live in direct. No fear in the facts, just intellectual respect. No more, no mirror, no fantasy, just truth, logic, and consistency.
What it do, what it do, what it do, what it do, what it do. Peace, good afternoon, and welcome to another Ced Talks, another Psuedokillas Officials production. Y'all remember, once you get in the building, don't forget to hit the like button, share, and like the show. Hit the like button on your way in. Help us grow this channel. We are going to be much more consistent in the shows we produce here at the Psuedokillas. You can have shows from Malcolm coming up, the Space Age show, and of course, Chill is going to be back with the Brain Show. Psuedokillas is in full effect, and of course, I'm Cedric doing Ced Talks, thanks to the God Killer and Kito Kent for creating this space and this opportunity, this environment where I can get my spill off. Talking about my spill off. Interesting time. I remember about 4 years ago when I joined the Psuedokillas and we started to go live, and we set out on a mission to promote scientific literacy and teach our communities the guidelines and the principles of science. I remember one of the first shows we did, I opened up the show by speaking about methodological naturalism. And that was empirical to me and foundational. Why? Because it is the framework in which scientific methods are applied. It is the epistemology. It is how we know what we know, because it is grounded in that empirical system called methodological naturalism. So for me, it was imperative to talk about that before we got into the methods and how these methods differ and how we apply them. For me, it was absolutely important to get into the systems itself. Why it was important? Because eventually we would gotten to this point. Shout out to Gary in the chat. Leave a comment in the chat. Let me know you're there. Don't forget, thumb up the video. I'm going to let a few people get in the building. It's another Ced Talk. So we got the whole community buzzing all of a sudden about science. What is science? Who had science? When did science start? How science? And of course, as expected, total and utter confusion, right? the etymology of the word. Everybody had science. Science is science, y'all. Shout out to Chef. Chef went on a tangent. You got him. Got him. Now Chef is redefining history itself. Now, according to Chef, we got methodological naturalism practiced in the 6th century BCE. You can't make this stuff up, ladies and gentlemen. You can't make this stuff up. There is a lot to be desired when you're entertaining this conversation, and a lot of people are going to try and throw their hat in the ring. You got JJ making similar assertions. Now, JJ and Chef are on the same page. Science is science. That's supposed to tell you something. That is supposed to tell you something. You want to know what position you are in? Look at those around you. Reggie jumped out the window. I see Gary in the chat. The Manji Masters in the chat. Peace, peace, welcome. Yes, sir. Don't forget, thumb up the video, share the video. First, it was Reggie that jumped out the window. I'm not going to even mention a song. Ashe, because I know he believes that airbender is the elements, right? So there's a certain level of discourse I'm not going to have. But Reggie jumped all the way out there. He's the impetus of this whole confusion. Let's be honest. It's Reggie. Reggie comes on the platform. No thing is proto science, African science, didn't all of that. Took us all around the world. Come to understand, Reggie thinks that technology is science. Don't you claim to have a degree in the fields of science? Well, no. When you get a science degree, doesn't mean you're actually engaging in science. You have a computer science degree, which is pretty much computer tech. And from ancient times, you're a floppy disk dude. However, assuming that you have passed through that academic rigor, this should not be such a difficult subject. Reggie's guided by his ideology. Blackology to the core. In his whole being, nothing but blackology. Can't get away from these constraints. Now we're all over the place. Chef put a good brother who was trying to have a conversation, maybe misunderstood. I shot off at Kael, and that wasn't necessary because he's probably trying to understand the subject, giving his opinion based on his comprehension. Chef takes that and runs with it as if there's a play made. Now, I got a series of presentations, but I think I'm going to take it right back to the beginning again. Simply, what is science? Let's break it down. Let's deal with the misconceptions, and let's see now who got who and who's out there looking silly. The believers amongst us hear the word methodological naturalism, excluding God from excluding the supernatural from any causal agency, and all of a sudden you need to be an atheist to do science? Huh? Or you're a scientist because you've engaged in some scientific work or you participated in research, you're a scientist? That makes your creationist claims valid? What's going on here? What's the madness going on here? Can somebody explain to me what is going on here? Words are being used, and you see people lack the basic comprehension skills to engage with the subject matter. Scientific doesn't mean science. I've said this from the very beginning. Yet, over the heads. Scientific doesn't mean science. And often when you're reading, science doesn't mean science. Now, I know that's confusing. That's when these adjectives are placed in front as a description of what is going on. Ancient science, ancient knowledge. You see a scientific process here. That means they are practicing a systematic application of observation. Does it make it science? No. What is the philosophical framework that people are operating under? First, it was survival, trial and error. Then the Egyptians just developed a system of the method. Later on, the Greek philosophers developed natural philosophies. All authoritative attempts of explaining reality without being grounded in any particular system. Shout out to Jody Breeze. Y'all thumb up the video, share the video, help the algorithm growing. Psuedokillas going to be live in direct. Ced Talks is going to be here pretty much a daily event. I got a series of presentations to do with regards to this subject. We got an open space where I can slow it down without the noise of and all the confusion around us. These subjects, I've always said, void of your emotional baggage. History needs to be examined void of your emotional baggage. The anachronistic nature, the anachronistic nature in which we engage with information is crazy. Pseudo-killers are being accused of scientism, presentism, and anachronism, historical anachronism. And this is exactly the traits we are seeing exhibited by our interlocutors in the subject. And I don't know why there are interlocutors. We are over here engaging in education, teaching. You got the barbershop conversation trying to advise people to not come over here, not listen to us, because, quote unquote, we do not know what we're talking about. When the academic rigor that we apply to everything that we do is obvious. It's never been about content. It has never been about views. It's been about giving back to the community, educating, and simply applying, equipping our community with the necessary tools, right, to understand the reality around. But we understand the environment we're in. So it goes with the territory. No need to get upset. It's only indicative of where an individual at. I've said it before and I'll say it again. An emotional Catarini with clippers who has no understanding of the subject matter. So that's why you get the whining and the crying and the attempts to appeal to your emotions. They had science, Joe. They had science, Joe. Stop it. That's why I've always stood and remained firm that science is methodological naturalism. Why do I maintain that position? It's easy to do. Methodological naturalism is the framework under which science operates. Within that framework, you get the operating system tools, method, the scientific method, which includes a lot of activities that human beings have been doing throughout history. Without observation, you have no understanding. Without transmission of that data from one generation to the next, you do not develop a body of knowledge and you do not sustain life. Imagine every 2 generations you had to figure out which herbs work, which foods were edible, where you can find water, how you need to produce a livable structure. If that was the case every couple of generations, we would have never been here. Knowledge, rational thinking, understanding and engaging with your environment is part of being a sentient being. Out of that follows tools, technique, the ability to create instruments to enhance your survival in that environment. These are scientific endeavors, scientific steps. However, they are not science. Human beings have always been very observant. We are pattern seeking creatures, which makes us look and understand the natural world around us instinctively. That's why you've always had throughout history people trying to explain the natural world around us. However, those attempts were not science. You had thousands of years, literally thousands of years of, of authoritative deductive reasoning. That's explanation. Helia said the arc, the fundamental substance of nature is water. A log floats on water, thus the mass of land that we see floats on water as well. Deductive reasoning, no formal testing, no peer review. That was an authoritative framework. It's natural philosophy. That's what you got in 6th century BCE. So all the hoopla, because you have an individual, Thales, doing specific aspects of what later is seen as methodological naturalism, you cannot logically deduce, like the Aristotelians did, that therefore methodological naturalism was practiced in 6th century BCE. That is not a philosophical framework. It is not something you practice. It is a framework. It is a way in which you think that produces a particular field of study. Now, if you're authoritative in your approach, then you do not require actual testing. Your logic and reasoning is the key. Your level of arrogance at that time in history determined your agency. Not testing, not nature itself. The authority switched from man, Thales, Aristotle, Democritus, to the authority being nature itself. That was the fundamental switch in this whole equation. Again, hit the like button, thumb up the video. Shout out Miss Lisa, always a supporter of the pseudo killer army in the building. Shout out Gary, Don, the Don Gen Master, the Don Gen Masters. Shout out. See y'all following the conversation? Frameworks versus application, tools versus systems. The ancients weren't practicing an early form of science. They had a holistic system that worked for them. When we look in their paradigm and try to find and pick out the science, you're practicing presentism. When historians do that, they're simply looking at the elements. We can see aspect of what modern science here. He's doing. Oh yeah. We see the observation, but doesn't equate to science in its modern sense by a long shot, by no stretch of the imagination. All right, so without further ado, I'm gonna get into this presentation here. I'm taking it from the top. What is science? And we're going to work our way over the coming days, weeks, through this whole series, right? We're going to take our time and do it. Since I see the need for it, the desire for it, I'm going to actually facilitate it because people want the conversation. So let's have it. We're going to slow it down. So it goes in the chat. Peace, my brother. With that, let me share my screen. Bear with me, y'all. The birdies hear me talking, so they get all excited as well. Start. All right. Slideshow from the beginning. All right. What is science really? Breaking the illusion. We're having a serious problem in the community right now. Everybody is using the word science, but almost nobody can define it. JJ wanted to challenge me. He comes up on the platform. I asked JJ one question. JJ, what is science? He loses his mind, tells me this is not how it goes. I am supposed to answer its question, but how I'm going to answer your question when the prerequisite grounding you do not have? Simply ask, what is science? And when a word loses its definition, it loses its meaning. So now we got people calling everything science, ancient practices, spiritual systems, cultural traditions. And I'm here to tell you, if everything is science, then nothing is science. Chef, Stoopies, science is science. Lighting fire is science. No, gentlemen. Science is a modern system which is methodological naturalism and everything that flows out of it. Prior to that, you simply don't have. Let's go. The problem, science is knowledge. Science is technique. Science is wisdom. Hmm. Let's slow it down. What exactly are people calling science? Knowledge. They know how to interact with their environment. They know how to track the animals in their environment. They know which herbs to use as medication. They know the seasons. Knowledge, technique. They built the pyramids. They observed the night sky. Observation. Cultural practices. It's not separated from their traditions. We agree. That's why these are knowledge systems within their own right. Who said these people needed to be practicing science? But if that's the case, then every human society in history was doing science. And that right there is the confusion. This is the anachronism we're talking about. Putting modern lenses on ancient people. They were perfectly suited for their environment. They had a holistic system that worked for them. The philosophical grounding from the Egyptians were the netters. And they built a 4,000-year long civilization based on tradition, honoring the ancestors, and respect for the netters. What? Why did they need to have science? Can somebody explain that to me? Why did they need methodological naturalism? They didn't. Their philosophical grounding was the natures. The natures explained their reality. And they operated within that system perfectly fine. What's the problem? What's the problem? So what we're dealing with is what philosophers call a category error. That's when you make, that's when you take a different kind of thing and treat them like they're the same thing. Horse and buggy, transportation. But automobile, the combustion engine, requires a different set of laws, different set of rules, a different conversation, a different paradigm in which you operate. Example, saying a map is the same thing as saying territory, or using a tool is the same as understanding the system. And that's exactly what's happening with science. You see observation, you see empirical data gathering, and you assume that equates to science. Those are the tools that are used in the framework of methodological naturalism, which is science. These are some of the tools therein. You cannot equate the two. This is a category error. It's a flawed thinking. That's why you get the emotional Baba over there saying the Islamic golden age, they developed heart and they did reproduce a bit. They were under the framework of natural philosophy. They were not under the framework of science, which is methodological naturalism. Human beings have always had knowledge. Knowledge, representation of the world can be evaluated as true or false, often tied to belief and justification. It is the principle on which most of us operate today. Our justification of the world, how we interact with it. Technique. We've all built a cart, we've all built a tree house, we've all knocked pieces of wood together. We've all built bow and arrows, assuming at some point in time, you're a kid. You carved a knife. Technique, technology. That technology built pyramids. That's a fact. We get that, right? So at this point, no one is going to accuse the pseudo-killers, community of skeptics, of ever claiming that the ancients didn't have sophisticated knowledge and high level of technical achievement. We've been talking about the Chinese and how they were far more advanced technologically than the Europeans in the 15th, 16th century. Yet, their knowledge system, their philosophical framework, chi, harmony with nature, universal order, did not allow for the development of the philosophical framework, methodological naturalism, which produces the scientific method. They didn't need it. Philosophy, how you can interpret and explain reality. And at the top, you have science. Philosophy has more to do with your belief system. Natural philosophy is a belief in how the world works. Methodological naturalism says the, the agent is nature itself, and testing is going to reveal what is happening. You don't get to make it up. So science is not just knowledge or technique. It is a specific philosophical approach to understanding reality. Like, at some point, we need to get this down. It is a philosophical approach. It is how you interact with the data in front of you. It is not how you collect the data. It is not the amount of data you collect. It is not the refinement of the technology with which you collect the data. It's none of that. It is simply, how do I engage with this data? What is the frame of reference? What is my philosophical grounding? Knowing how isn't equal to knowing why. Y'all starting to get it, right? I think we're starting to get it now. Because I did this presentation a week ago, and I think now it's resonating much better. This is where most people get it wrong. This is what Chef simply doesn't understand. There's a difference between knowing how to do something and knowing why it works. There's a difference between knowing how to do something and fundamental understanding of why it works. If you can calculate the whole trajectory, and then your conclusion is this is a ultimate work of God. This is the ultimate work of God as your final explanation, causal agent. Then you're not practicing science. Unfortunately, is the reality. When you're operating under a framework whereby your authority is what decides the underlying philosophy, the underlying mechanism, whether you determine the gods did it or some metaphysical explanation, there is no testing, no experimentation, no no theoretical basis, no peer review, none of the tools used within methodological naturalism. They are not a requirement under the philosophical foundation of natural philosophy. So, no, at no point in time in 6th century BCE, no Thales, not even Aristotle, was engaging in methodological naturalism. Natural philosophy simply isn't metaphys- uh, 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 methodological naturalism. Asian people knew how to build structures, track the stars, practice medicine. But the question is, did they have a system for explaining why these things work? They did not have methodological naturalism. That wasn't their system of explaining. Their system was authoritative. The shaman, he was the one. That's the authority. The astronomers, they were the authority. Omen, divination, they had the authority to say, well, this moon is in this state, and that means X is going to happen. They were the authority. The netchers, the priests, their scribal tradition, you better not think outside of that box. You by the scribal tradition is about the level at which you can reproduce ancient text. That was their philosophical framework. The ancients had the authority. It was always within the realm of human agency, not nature agency, not nature as the agent, the human as the agent. Critical distinction. Let's continue. If ancient people had knowledge, then they had science. JJ 7000, barbershop. The ancient people had knowledge, y'all. You mean to tell me that ain't science? Tell me you can do that with that level of precision, and that ain't science. You see how simplistic and utterly ignorant that sounds right now. You see how the egg is on your face now when you slow the conversation down and you actually understand the philosophical framework required. Now I can talk about methodological naturalism a little bit more comfortable because they think they got me. Supposedly, Helios practiced methodological naturalism. Now, I know different, but of course, that provides me with an opportunity to prepare a presentation and go in eventually. But I'm a slow walker through this. So we're talking about what is science. So if the ancient people had knowledge, then they had science. JJ, 7000, Chef, who else? Reggie, really? Grow up. Because if that were true, then cooking would be a science. Also, Reggie, you're saying that Ashe was right in the debate that cooking is a science? Cooking contains chemistry, the deneutralization of proteins, which is a chemical process because it can't be reversed. First year high school chemistry. However, science is a culinary art form. If you're going to put it within STEAM, it will be the A, the art. Blacksmithing would be a science, and even trial and error survival would be a science. Basic survival skills. This is science. Hunter gatherer, cooking, science. According to Stupid, they build a fire, so that's science. Y'all see how ridiculous it sounds, huh? Blacksmithing, science? Honestly? What type of science? Metallurgy science? What's the philosophical framework behind metallurgy science? You see, when you ask that question, and you're gonna go, what? What's the what is the philosophical foundation or grounding that is required to execute metallurgy? Tell me. Doesn't need one, right? It doesn't need one. So how are you going to clarify that as science? So you see, this is clearly not what science means. You got to stop the flim flam. Stop the cap. Stop the cap, JJ. Stop the cap, chef. You're not good dude, yo. If you're gonna make a stand on your own 2 feet, right? What you're doing is throwing a brother under the bus, and that never that dude's intention. You're making it seem as if he's over in York. That's some disingenuous shit, bro. I owe Kyle apology. When you think about it, I owe Kyle apology. Kyle is engaging in a debate with me. We are fighting, and that's okay. That's what we do. What you do is you take that honest conversation and you try to make a gotcha moment out of it. And good thing I only bit on my little channel. But I apologize to Kale, because that was never his intent. Your disingenuousness, you thought you had a gotcha moment. I'm apologizing to Kale. Kale no liar. He might be mistaken. He might be wrong. He's definitely not a liar. That's why I'm not even pulling up the clips or doing any of that, because I would then be stooping to your level of the game, bro. And that's something I'm just not about. And it hit me right now, just like what you call it, J. Cole. It just hit me right now. I need to apologize to Kyle. And never that brother's intention. You, chef. You manipulating and all of this nonsense because of your own ignorance, because of your emotional baggage. Man. This is the claim we keep hearing. Ancient people had knowledge. Therefore, they had science. But now y'all see why that logic doesn't hold up, right? Before natural philosophy, it was pretty much trial and error, survival mode. Technique developed, those are early human, before human endeavors. We know of other species that actually practice tool use. Technique, technology. We ain't talking about that. Y'all know. We accept, we understand without knowledge, there is no foundation, there is no nothing. Shout out to 900 Magnificent. Chalimbwe in the chat. Space Age Anthony. I see Lamar Pope 303 in there. Thanks for coming out. Please hit the thumbs up button. Like the show, share the show. As soon as I finish this presentation, I'm going to drop the link and have a little bit of conversation. You know how we do. Let's continue. So we keep hearing this claim. Ancient people had knowledge, therefore they had science. JJ 10-hour rant. Talking about material science, this science, all kind of knowledge systems that the ancients had. No one's denying that. Ever did, nor we ever do. Without them, you don't get here. But science is not just knowledge, not just observation, nor just technique. It's not. These are tools that are inherent to the scientific method that is within the framework of methodological naturalism. First, you develop the framework, methodological naturalism. framework, methodological naturalism. Tools used in methodological naturalism: knowledge, observation, technique. Can we find these attributes elsewhere? Yes, all throughout history. Does that mean it's science? No, because what is the philosophical framework that is required to execute metallurgy? I'll wait. So it's not just knowledge, it's not just observation, nor just technique. Science is not just knowing something. They knew, they knew when they knew this and they knew that. You hear all the arguments. When I can answer what is science by simply saying science is methodological naturalism and the scientific method that flows out of it. Easy, straight to the point. To understand the principles I'm working with. Foundation, tools to execute. Principle, tools to execute. Or it's not just doing something. Because if that was the case, then human has been doing this for tens of thousands of years. That's just the facts. Look here. These are Neanderthal, Denisovan, archaic humans building fire. We know that Homo erectus produced fire, cooked food, hunted, made tools. Is that science? What is their philosophical framework? Can you tell me? Can somebody type in the chat? What is philosophical framework of one of these archaic humans? Homo erectus, Homo lanani. What is the philosophical framework under which they are operating? Is it methodological naturalism? I mean, they can try. Chef is going to try to push that back to 300,000 years ago at some point. Because once he understands that that's the framework, what requires once he understands that that's the philosophical framework required to operate on he's going to try and shoehorn a methodological naturalism now even further back than 500 BCE. No, chef, do a little bit of actual research. Thales is the father of natural philosophy. He's one of the foundational elements of natural philosophy. Even Aristotle, who himself is an authoritative figure in natural philosophy, referred back to Thales because the authority wasn't often challenged. And if it was challenged, it was in support of adding on to. The authority was the thing. So, yes, chef, father of natural philosophy. Natural philosophy is not methodological naturalism. They are separated by thousands of years. How do you feel now having done a whole show and I simply sit and laugh at you because you're making a clown of yourself with utter ignorance? What science actually is? Let's go. Science is a method of explaining reality, a philosophical framework. Science is something much more specific. Science is a method for explaining reality, not just describing it like the Aristotelian time frame did, like the Arab Golden Age did, but not just interacting with it, systematic testing, lens development, optometry, the development of optometry. That's a Dutch word. Scientifically, I switch up. But explaining it in a systematic, testable way. Methodological naturalism creates a framework out of which a practical system of application occurs. It needs to be systematic. It needs to be based nature as agent. As agent, cause you need a way to test, you need a way to verify, and you need a way to justify. These are all the systems in place. They come out of a particular philosophical framework, a way of thinking about things. So, what was the ancient, or what was a Homo erectus's philosophical framework under which he was engaging with his reality? Survival. Let's go. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. I have to fix that and be right back.
Yeah. Welcome to Ced Talks, where we separate fact from fiction. Method of omit every time. This that Ced Talk, yeah, we said it straight. Cut through the noise, elevate the debate. No pseudo talk, no foggy claims. Just evidence-based when we build these frames. Ced Talks, yeah, clarity first. If it ain't got method, it probably won't work. From ancient knowledge to modern science, we draw that line, that clear defined. They say the ancients had science. Hold up, pause. Knowledge ain't the same as methodological laws. Observation, yeah, but control tests rare. No predictive models, you gotta be fair. We respect the past, but we keep it exact. Precision matters when you deal with facts. Astronomy grew, astrology split. One stayed empirical, one lean myth. The shift came through naturalistic method. Just standing of eyes, that's how we embed it. Not culture bound, not tied to a place. It's a universal tool for the human race. This guy said talks, yeah, he said it straight. Cut through the noise, elevate the debate. No pseudo talk, no foggy claims. Just evidence based when we build these frames. Ced Talks, yeah, clarity first. If it ain't got method, it probably won't work. From ancient knowledge to modern science, we draw that line, that clear defiance. They blur definitions, start moving the goalposts. Turn fried to a claim that don't hold close. Science ain't on, this a process refined. Independent of culture, space and time. You can't redefine it to fit identity. That's how you lose all epistemic integrity. We test every claim, we don't just believe. If it can't be verified, we don't receive. From early observers to labs today, it's rigor and doubt that paved the way. Not name dropping scholars to win a debate, but data and method that validate. So what's your ideology? That's who to ask. But truth ain't.
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Let me get right back into it. Share my screen. We're almost at the end of the presentation. Anyway, you know, all right. So we went through what science is. So the missing piece. What makes science science? Now here's the real question. I've been talking about it the whole night, and I think at this point in time, someone can actually put it in the chat. What makes science science? Now here's the real question. What makes science science? What separates it from everything that came before it? Because that distinction is what is missing in the entire community. That's missing right now. I'm giving it away so we know that the answer is a philosophical foundation, a way of thinking about nature. For over 2,000 years, philosophical naturalism, or philosophical naturalism, or what we call natural philosophy, was the standard, authoritative. The human was the authority. The shift came, that paradigm shift came when human agency lost its power. We've been talking about it here and there and going back and forth. It's going to come up again. But the age of discovery, Those authoritative positions fell apart because they could not explain new reality. That was the impetus for re-examining one's framework, one's way of looking at reality. Your epistemology came into question because you thought you knew, but you didn't. When you came to realize Aristotle didn't know what the hell he was talking about, you're faced with a dilemma. You need a system now. Who's the authority? What's the authority? Nature itself is the authority. So, as I've been preaching from over 4 years ago, the answer, I'm going to do a breakdown on it, but methodological naturalism. I have a presentation already prepared. Step by step, I'm going to do presentations on the channel and take us through the whole series. So I'm not going to talk about it now, although I've been talking about it exhaustively. I'm going to save that for the next episode. What is exactly methodological naturalism? We're going to go into that and look at what is natural philosophy. We're going to examine all of these aspects and take us step by step to where we need to go to. Void of all the emotional baggage, right? The ad homs, the gotcha moments, and the attempts to create division in the community. Again, my apologies to KL. I got sucked up in the negativity and the foolery, and you were used as a proxy. Never your intent. No. Right? Funny as hell. Right? When they're going in the way they're going in. So my bro, my apologies, bro. My apologies. Sincerely, my apologies. But Chef, you have no room in this conversation. You have no clue what you're talking about. You have no idea what you're talking about. Now, I won't tell anybody to not go watch your channel. I'll send them over there because that's where they're going to have a very entertaining comedy show and watch an emotional Caterini with Clippers crash out. Who knows nothing of what he's talking about. See, when they come over here, people are going to get grounded, understand the subject matter without the drama, without the hoopla. So if everything is science, then nothing is science. The caveman is practicing science. Chimpanzees practice science. They develop tools, they self-medicate, they go to war, they plan, they strategize. Fish have self-awareness, conduct experiments. That's going to be an interesting setup. And if we don't define that framework properly, then we open the door for anything to be called science. And once that happens, science loses its meaning. What Chef is doing. This is science, JJ. JJ went on a 10-hour rant trying to prove everybody had science because science is knowledge and knowledge is science. And they were scientific and the okay. Systematic application of any process is scientific, of anything. If you systematically do an activity, it's scientific. It's structured, it's repeatable. Is that science? I think you all know the answer. So let me leave this with you. Science is not just a word, it is an actual framework. That's why I said science is methodological naturalism. Methodological naturalism is the framework. I never need to move from my square. I'm going to stay right here and wait for the rest of y'all to catch up. And when I say rest of y'all, I mean the barbershop crew. The barbershop crew over there. I'm going to wait for y'all to catch up. There ain't no gotcha moments. Cedric ain't exposed. Y'all are just creating unnecessary conflict by taking a discussion in good faith, a mistake in understanding particular terminology. I need to even get into that. But that there, you trying to create a divide and conquer, as if now me and the brother gonna have to go back and forth trying to prove something. Nice try. Head of the game. Again, Kael, my apologies. Science is not just a word, it's a framework. And what is that framework called? Methodological naturalism. So say it with me. Science is methodological naturalism. It's the framework in which the scientific method is applied. The scientific method, we can see aspects of it throughout all of humanity. A foundation of rationality, observation, empirical data gathering. These are tools that you see back in other cultures. You see back in other frameworks, other other philosophical frameworks of how their reality is examined and engaged with. These are holistic systems that stand on their own. These ancient cultures were not trying to do science. That was not their objective. They didn't have to, didn't care about it, didn't need it. They were functioning just fine. Science is a result of finding out that your knowledge system was incoherent with reality. Let's continue. So, in the next episode, we're going to go back in time and separate ancient knowledge from scientific thinking. Again, ancient knowledge, what they knew, and the scientific thinking. Because until we clear that distinction up, the conversation is going nowhere. So we're going to go into ancient knowledge and natural philosophy, the process to get to where we are today with a fundamentally different way of thinking. Shout out to Chill. Space Age Anthony's in the building. Don't forget, thumb up the video, share the video, like the show, thumb up the video. Don't forget to subscribe. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Psuedokillas is in full effect. We are going to be bringing you a series of shows. We see Chill with the Brain Show, one of my favorite shows, and Space Age Anthony right behind him. My two favorite shows in the community. The Objective Perspective is in the building. The Objective Perspective 02 is in the building. Thank y'all for being here. All right. With that, now we have a foundation of what science is and what it is not. I'm gonna put the link in the chats if anybody wants to come up here. Have you gotten some clarity? You got any questions? Feel free, right? Because I think we are where we're supposed to be now in terms of this conversation. We understand now that science is a thinking thing. It's a thinking man's game. It is the way we think about reality. It's a framework in which you operate. Every knowledge system, every system of knowledge operates within a particular framework, right? That framework in this case is called methodological naturalism. Prior to that framework, the framework under which things operated was the authoritative system of natural philosophy. The Islamic Golden Age is there in the Islamic Golden Age. So if the Islamic Golden Age sits neatly within the framework of natural philosophy, are you still going to assume and claim that they are practicing methodological naturalism? Their framework, their framework is at that particular point in time natural philosophy. So there's no way that they're under the framework of natural philosophy, an authoritative system, and you still assume that you can be practicing methodological naturalism, which is something not you practice, but it's a framework under which your knowledge system operates, right? So there are two different frameworks, two different particular frameworks under which these activities are taking place. Chef, the Islamic Revolution or the Islamic Golden Age is rooted within the authoritative framework of the ancient time, which is natural philosophy. That is a framework, my good brother. So, with that framework, you can never talk about them operating under another framework. Doesn't make sense. What you're looking at is the tools. Again, what you're looking at is the tools, the methods used under or within the umbrella of methodological naturalism. A lot of those tools come from the Islamic Golden Age. Yes, those were the tools of a particular operating system. Methodological naturalism incorporated the tools developed during the Islamic era. The Islamic era operated under the philosophical framework of natural philosophy. So again, no, Thales, 6th century BCE, was not practicing, at no point in time was he practicing methodological naturalism. I have the presentation ready, but I want to reach to that point. We'll slow walk it. Take us through the sequences so that we have them documented in chronological order. I've already prepared a presentation on the misconception of scientific versus science. Although I pretty much explained it here, I want us to have a documented presentation on the Psuedokillas where we can simply send people back and say, we've been talking about this 4 years ago. We've been talking about methodological naturalism over 4 years ago, almost 4 years ago. Why? Because it is fundamental to the scientific method. We are not asking or requesting everyone to become scientists. However, scientific literacy is paramount. And we can see the lack, the obvious lack of scientific literacy that is on display right now. We can clearly see that, right? It's a lack of scientific literacy, a lack of synthesis of the information. People are reading, trying to get gotcha moments. That's all that's really happening. An attempt to get a gotcha moment. See, I got it. Got it. We got it. You know how ridiculous you actually look to me sitting there in the chat, just shaking my head, going, damn. Like when you're so wrong and you have no clue, no idea of how wrong you actually are. It is cringe worthy, to say the least. See how easy it is to have these conversations with me because I'm rooted in the foundation of it. What it did do, what it did do, what it did do is what it did do is create an environment when we can do all the teaching. Now we can address the needle problem. We can do all of that. We can talk about what the actual impetus was, how crucial the discovery of the new world, the printing press, and these type of activities were essential in the scientific revolution. When we say scientific revolution, mind you, that's a 200 plus year process. And if we understand science in its modern form, in that methodological natural form, it is creating an obvious, not a vicious circle, but a helix, right? Because new information, new discoveries, new experimentation, new technology, new hypothesis, and that continues to revolve around. Advent of modern technology, right, is giving us an opportunity to deal with what is known as a crisis in science, the peer review process and the falsifiability. Technology is going to improve on these systems. These are all systems that operate under the same philosophical principle, methodological naturalism. That's why I have been preaching ground yourself in the proper philosophy, and then the boom, bam, boom, 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 flim, flam, quick conversation appeals to your emotion that the barbershop boys are doing will just simply fall apart and be null and void, a waste of your time, right? With that, Sabio, what good? What it do? What it do?
What's up, man? Great show. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, beautiful show. Beautiful show. I appreciate how you presented the information and how you keep showing that there's separation in the way the ancients were thinking and using the natural world, the physical world to survive and and coexist within the natural world. And at the end of the day, the questions that we have answered stems from the questions that they couldn't answer. So
Exactly.
science evolved. So the steps that they implemented kept changing. And like you said, if it wasn't for the invention of the printing press and things like that, who knows where we'll be?
Sabio, let me ask you
People
a
don't
question.
think about those small things. What's up, bro?
Let me ask you a question. We're both staunch atheists, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
there's no bias in our position. Do you need to be an atheist to be a scientist?
Mm-mm.
Absolutely
Nope.
not. Can you say that again
No, you,
for the kids in the back of the
no, you
class?
do. No, you do not need to be an atheist to be a scientist
Now, why do you often find that atheists are more inclined to be scientific?
because they're looking for answers that the spiritual or the um, religious world haven't been able to answer and can't answer. So the things that line up with the natural world may not align with the spiritual world. So that disconnect may lead them to be atheists.
Thank you, because now all of a sudden, different angles are being proposed. Because of course, now that the community is synthesizing to what methodological naturalism mean, they are focusing the exclusion of God. What they are not focusing in is the other side of that coin, which is saying only natural explanations explain the natural world. So it is excluding all supernatural, all metaphysical, and all supernatural agents. It is also taking the authority away from man. And
Hmm.
that's the aspect of it that people don't see. Man replaces him. Man is the replacement of God. The authority always lies by man. It is man that
Hmm.
proposes God as an agent. So that places the agency in human authority, which places us back to natural philosophy. So methodological naturalism puts the agency in nature itself. And that is the fundamental difference. So when you're investigating nature, your belief system is not relevant because natural philosophy relies on one's belief. You need to believe in your particular theory. And I'm using theory in the colloquial sense because there is no science behind the earth floats on water because water is the arc of reality. And if a log floats on water, then of course the mass of the land we see should float on water as well. Logically deduced, perfect reasoning. rational. For over 2,000 years, Aristotle's position of heavier things fall faster than lighter things, and his explanation was simply the status quo. Not even in the Islamic Golden Age did they challenge that notion. That was
Mm.
the leading philosophical position of the time. Simple. Man, the link is in the chat. JJ7000 is refusing to hit the link. I think he got it
What?
I think he got it all out
Oh,
last night. I think he
yeah.
educated
When he went
himself.
on,
I think he educated himself into the right position. That's why he's moving on. He's moving on from
Killer Pre-Show, on Killer Pre-Show, yo, that was bad.
this.
That was bad. That was bad. That was bad. I couldn't even watch it all. It was so bad. I just stopped. I was like,
um,
bro, you body slamming yourself. How are you body slamming your? How do you body slam yourself? That's
oh, you're here, you're in the back. But why don't you just hit the link? I don't see you. You're not in the back, JJ. Stop it. You running as usual. Running as usual, JJ. Stop it. Yeah, so I watched that. JJ invites us over. I'm in the chat from the beginning of the show, and he refused to let me up. And all the while, he's doing my voice in the chat. He's doing my voice because he sees me in the chat and saying
hmm
in real time, I'm a coward. I won't come up here. Gina in the building. King Sosa in the building. Hi, Pseudokillas officials. Nice to have you here. JJ, don't eat that fish you cook. It's raw. Yeah, JJ. That fish ain't cooked for sure. Because if anybody got cooked, it was you. JJ, like Chris asked you, why every time you got a direct question, you needed to refer to indigenous black man? You can't
man.
see the side
And
answer.
indigenous black man, wow, like wow. If that's your support, bruh, bruh, indigenous
JJ,
black man,
JJ was reading a source explaining Greek philosophy was natural philosophy, teleology, the purpose. They wanted to know the purpose. Okay, JJ, that's why it's not scientific.
right?
But you're reading. You know what teleology means, JJ? Do you actually know what the word means, my good brother? Oh man, that was crazy. I remember a couple of weeks ago, they simply needed to see the word science and they were off to the races.
Mm-hmm.
So now, when you understand that when we're talking about science, we simply mean methodological naturalism, which is a framework under which the scientific method and all these steps, observation, etc., things you've seen throughout history, they are under a particular way of reasoning, which changes the observation. It changes what you're looking at and how you're looking at things. So, observation isn't just observation. The word remains the same, but the action changes based on the philosophical grounding. So, I really don't get the confusion. Chefs over there, as if they got me, assuming that Thelius in 600 BCE actually practiced methodological naturalism. It was a misunderstanding my brother made. Thelius was the father of natural philosophy, that authoritative system where dudes for 2,000 plus years was allowed to just make it up. They were making stuff up. The presentation is already there. Like I said, Pseudo is going to be going live every afternoon, bringing you shows. Like the show, share the show, and don't forget to subscribe. Help us grow the channel. Let's get us to, I don't know, let's get us to 3,500 in the next couple of weeks. Let's go. Grow this channel, all right? So we're going to continue to bring you these shows, and I'm going to slow it down. I like this, piece by piece, slowly taking this stuff apart. So now we know that science is methodological naturalism. Science is a particular paradigm of looking at the world. The ancient folks operated under a different philosophical umbrella called natural philosophy, where the authority was the human agency given to supernatural forces. Within that framework, you get a shift from the mystic, so no longer Zeus throwing lightning bolts, but the water itself having divine essence, the rock itself having divine essence. The purpose of the rock is to be on the ground and be heavy so that that it helps to keep the earth stable on the floating body of water. That's why a rock is heavy. It had a purpose. So this is teleology. This is not methodological naturalism. This is make 'em up stuff. You can make 'em up. You
You
can
can
sit
make it
in
up
the
as you
fields
go along.
with your glass and your joint and look at the heavens and say, "Oh, wait a minute. The clouds are floating because they are moving in suspended animation. That's why they are not really engaged in any other form with it." Like, you can make it all up. Is that science? You are going to see aspects of science within that framework. Reproducibility. You're going to see testing, especially in the Islamic expansion. You are seeing tools, scientific method, the tools being developed there, not the philosophical framework, not the way you think about this particular subject matter. All right, let me drop the link again in the chat.
JJ scared to hit the link.
You want to say something?
He gonna.
You want to say something? Say, go ahead.
I said JJ scared to hit the link. He's scared to teach us about that ancient science that they had in the second century.
God did it.
God did it. That's the science.
There you go. I dropped the chat again. I dropped the link in the chat. Somebody wants to hit the link, jump up here.
So
So
science
yeah,
again remains undefeated throughout it all. Science is undefeated throughout it all.
yep. So again, so that's why I guess it's clear now. Science is a particular framework. Again, I'm gonna keep saying it, right? And let me see. Let me see. I can probably do one more. No, I'm gonna save it for tomorrow. Don't overdo. One presentation a day is enough. We have a conversation around it. And obviously, when you clear things up, there is minimal conversation to be had. So again, just for factuality, we got the whole community talking about science. Let me just let's be honest about that. We got the whole community talking about science. Uh, and of course it is some a word used very loosely throughout the community, right? The science of this, the science of that. Bro, you've been dropping some hard science. So all of a sudden, God killer minding his own business does a presentation about the history of science, and we're off to the races. Ced Talk was headed in a completely other direction. A completely other direction. I was going into, you saw I did the Bantu expansion talking about E1, B1A, and how the Bantu expansion, because the next stop was taking us into the Congo. Shout out to the God Killer and the anonymous team in the building. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I dropped the link, so feel free to jump up here anytime, anytime. Appreciate it. All right. So what I was saying was, where was I? Saw the God killing there.
You
Lost my train of
you
thought.
were saying about your direction before
Yeah.
science.
So we was going to go into the Congo, start to look at indigenous cultures, hunter gatherers, how they live, how science, and modern scientists interact with these different cultures. Shout out to 220 Love 07 in the building. Thank you for being here, my brother. So yeah, and all of a sudden, God Killer does a presentation on the chronological steps in the scientific method, mind you, looking at the tools and the systems being used, and all of a sudden, everyone jumps out the window as if because there was no science prior to the scientific revolution, that's a one-on-one equivocation where people had no knowledge. How do you do that? How do you make that leap?
You know, that is crazy when you think about it because they're using the ancient knowledge to talk about gods and shit. Ain't that crazy?
I mean, I'm
Like
still
when you
confused
actually think
of
about it,
how we're here.
it's very confusing.
Because when we spoke about methodological naturalism over 4 years ago, we were effectively saying the same damn thing. Because prior to methodological naturalism, natural philosophy was the order of the day, and no one who was engaging in natural philosophy was actually practicing science. No one.
I don't disagree with that.
So where does that logical discrepancy come from?
It's a disconnect. It's a
Where does
disconnect with the word.
that logical
It's the
discrepancy
it's
come
the
from?
usage of the word. It's the usage of the word science and how you said they want to apply it to everywhere because it's a
Man,
word that's applied to knowledge.
yeah.
So because it's used to for knowledge, it becomes science,
Ladies
even
and
though that's
gentlemen,
just knowledge.
the orchestrator, the master, the
Oh,
king himself, the leader of the wild bunch, the God killer. What it do, what it do, what it do?
What's going on, Sabian? What's going on,
what up,
Ced Talk, man? How y'all doing, man? What's good?
I'm
Peace.
doing
What's
good,
good?
my
I'm
brother.
good. How you, bro?
Ah, man, I'm good. You know what I mean? Taking a little break away. You know what I mean? You know, it's a long season. You know, we
Yeah.
working on our 10th championship in a row. So, you know, long season. And what I learned in the long season is you can't depend on the rookies. You know, we got people out here depending on rookies, man. You know what I'm saying? Ain't been through the fray, don't understand, man. So what I will tell you is, man, this conversation, man, like you said, 4 years ago, you was talking about that particular item. And I don't know why people think they can just Google and catch up with you or ChatGPT and get with you. You know what I mean? Like we know ChatGPT is basically a language model. And, you know, it's nice to know something about the subject before you start typing in the ChatGPT. You're better off reading Encyclopedia Britannica and Wikipedia and other scholarly articles, man. So, you know, like you said, man, I'm glad that everybody's talking about science now, man. You know, I
Yeah.
know it's important because, you know, like Dr. Oyamayat, big up to Dr. Oyamayat, who's actually really, you know, pushing forward with STEM. And so we connected to that. And we're actually just wanting to make sure that the young individuals, for real, get interested in STEM because there's jobs out there that we're not taking advantage of. Our numbers are very, very low as African Americans. And so that program that she created, you know, based off of, you know, our push for science education, man, is real. I don't know why people act like that's not a real thing there, right? I'm confused, man. So, you know, my job actually is not to get you stuck in ancient Egypt because you can't get no job off of no ancient Egyptian science and watch that word drive them crazy, Cedric. You can't get a job in STEM off of, you know, African science and watch them go crazy with that word, right?
How you mean? They were the ultimate in being scientific, bro. They built the
Yeah,
pyramids. They were scientific.
scientific mind. So listen, you know, I'm not actually even talking to the conscious community, bro. I was always talking to the vibrant, young African American segment of our community where they're highly intelligent people. So I don't know why the conscious community think that the brightest people exist, that the brightest youth exists in the conscious community. It's actually the opposite. So, my name is thrown around. I'm discouraging the youth. I don't think so. I'm gonna bring Doc on. I want to see what the numbers are for that online STEM camp that Dr. Mayat produces yearly. And the summer's coming up, right? And hopefully we'll have that camp in Atlanta. It's hard work, man. So look, man, I'm just sitting back stirring the pot up, bro, because I already know they rookies, and it's a long season. And you can always depend on the rookie to let you down. Hit them with a misdirection, they go for this fake, and you got them. So, we got some rookies throwing their hat in the ring. It's okay. We're going to keep it real cordial, real easy, smooth, light. And, we never call them the plays on their time. Take out time, man. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying your shows, man. The accuracy is there, man. I'm enjoying these conversations with the Psuedokillas, man. Make sure y'all join the survey. That's where the action is. And where the rookies, get they just due, and you realize I'm a rookie. So if you're just really getting into this conversation, take your time and sit back and learn something from the Psuedokillas, man. We got a lot to offer. And, I appreciate all the brothers and sisters. And we ain't tripping, man. Come on, Cedric. We ain't tripping, bro. It's like roaches. Roaches always run from the light. So we just come in and shine that damn light on shit. And when we do, the roaches flee. But we know where they're going to flee at. They're going to flee back into their scurvy, back into their dark corners, bro. But we already got the poison there. We got all the answers. Y'all know we have all the answers to the test. I've been talking about this for at least 20 years. Got all the intelligent people. And look, don't hate me. Hate the game. The game made me. Don't hate Cedric. Y'all made Cedric like this. You know what I'm saying? Don't hate. Don't hate Savior. Y'all ignore Savior. Don't hate him because that boy read. My fault because that man read. Yeah, they be hating a little bit, Cedric. I don't know why, bro. Crazy, bro. They did a whole show. They did a periphery of shows. I'm glad they was actually talking about science, man. But don't tell me about what elders you critique and all that. Knock it off, man. Come on, bro. Knock it off, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I said it before. I'm gonna say it again, and that's why I appreciate the Discord, man, and the team we have, right? Because it keeps us all grounded, right? I came on here,
All
and in the
ground.
middle of my diatribe, it hit me like, bro, no, Kyle, no, Kyle, no, I was wrong. I fought for them using Kyle, right? And if I fall for that, that puts me right there at that same level. I apologize to KL, man. He was trying to have a sincere conversation, and even if he was wrong, right? That's how we get down, right? We
You
stand on
learn
our
from being wrong.
position and we argue it out. Doesn't mean he was trying to do a gotcha moment, right? That wasn't his intent,
Nah.
right? So I apologize to KL, but of course, this only illustrates the ignorance of the barbershop boys even more. Because if you actually thought that was correct, right? You disingenuous to someone you're calling a friend because you put him out there, right? And now I don't need to do that. I can address the misconception without doing that, and that's the pseudo killer way. Shout out to Miss Tiff, shout out to Juju, shout out to our Discord, shout out to our team. We got family over here, and no, we're not a cult. We challenge each other every day. My position in this and understanding the nuances, y'all have no idea how I got beat up after a debate I won that really put me to understand the way modern historians are engaging with the data, right? I come from the old school, Arthur Nuremberg, James Evan. They aren't wrong, but what they're doing is anachronistic in presentism. I can acknowledge that. These are holistic knowledge system within their own right. Even using the word science in describing anything they're doing is a sort of historical anachronism. They
It
want
is. It
attempts at,
is. It is. The,
yeah.
the, the, the people deserve more than that. And I appreciate you, that apology. Um, Kyle, that's my friend right there. And appreciate that. And like I always said, man, in certain rooms where you're the smartest person, you should just get the hell out of there, yo. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta get out of there, man, because it's gonna have you look mumble bumble.
Yeah.
And yeah, and even the responses, like, come on, bro. About 3, 4, 5 people responded. And it was one guy on YouTube that did his thing. So big up to Chris, man, the MVP, man. Appreciate him, bro. Appreciate the positive input in the group, right? Pseudo-killer all day, every day. Appreciate him, actually critiquing that Killer Priest show. If y'all haven't seen the Killer Priest show, big up the Killer Priest. I'm a fan of his work. He a fan of my damn work, yo. We support each other.
Oh man, y'all gotta go watch that show.
You gotta watch the
Man.
show. Big up to JJ. Me and JJ go through it once a year, right? Yeah, what I mean, but that's my man. No matter how crazy he talk about me, there's one guy, yo, that I don't even trip when JJ bugging out, yo, because he did 8 hours. And anybody that give me an 8-hour commercial,
Yeah.
I gotta say big up to him.
You did 8 hours.
Yes,
He did
sir.
8, but I'm saying I'm not mad.
8, 9
I'm not
hours.
mad because
Wow.
that 8 hours gonna help that man, yo. Like if you
Listen,
talk
he
8
worked
straight
this. He
hours
worked
about
this.
science show, it's gonna help you.
Yeah. He was working it
Mm-hmm.
out. He was working it out to the point that he realized he
He was
doesn't have an
working it out
argument
fast.
anymore. Yeah, he worked it out in real time. He realized he doesn't have an argument anymore. He's decided to leave it alone. I dropped the link for him to jump up with. He said he's moving on to frying bigger fish. He studied himself into awareness. 10 hours live on a live, reading till he got it.
Damn. 8 hours is insane. No, that's a whole work shift.
10 hours till he got it. He is
Big
not
up to
arguing this
JJ.
stuff no more.
Jeez.
Big up to
Appreciate
Big
you,
ups.
JJ.
Jay.
That's a class. He took a whole class.
JJ, $2.50. He down to $2.50 though. He was 7,000, but he down to 250.
Shout out
So
to
yeah,
Miss Tiff in the building.
I'm
Oh
I'm gonna be
man.
back over there though. I'm gonna back over to Killer Priest.
Yeah, you need to do a follow-up.
Yeah, he
That
runs a
was
fair, and impartial program over there. It's a hip hop channel, man. Lord knowledge, you know what I'm saying? He dropped knowledge. He sip his tea. And they do their thing, man. So I ain't never tripping, yo. I just actually sit back and watch the videos about the disrespect, um, the attacks,
oh
and
man.
I mean, it is what it is. But I don't necessarily like that conversation around you disrespecting elders, right?
Mm.
Do you mean disrespecting older people? Because everybody is not my elder. I don't mean no harm. Like I was raised around my elders, so I don't actually give a damn about what they think they saying. But what I'm not doing is, and I'm never going for this, I'm not making the person my elder that produces information that I don't at least impartially agree with. That's counter to the message that I promote on my free time, bro. I'm not doing that, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not signing off on none of that crap, right? I'm not signing off on Reggie. I don't care if that's your elder or not. I sign off on Reggie going to museums and being able to walk you through that joint with accuracy and take you to the right spots and understand, what the artifact means. Yeah, I don't respect that STEM talk he's talking about. Matter of fact, yo, it's very few people in this space that I respect to have a science conversation. Just so happened that 99% of them is in our server. Everybody else, yo, go kick rocks, yo. Go get better. Go get better. And I'm listening. I heard the sneak slander. We got some people that sneak slander and act like they ain't taking their shot. A lot of people took their shot this week, yo. But I learned something when my uncle went to the Vietnam War there, Cedric. Guess what he told me?
What he tell you?
He say, man, when I went over there, yo, I thought we was gonna beat the shit out them Koreans. No, those Vietnamese. Say he was little. I got this big army. We gonna do it, right? He said I went there, and by the time they got finished with us, yo, I respected them. He said, but what I learned was when you shooting at somebody, yo, it's coming back at you. I remember
Yes,
that, yo. You got to shoot and roll. Ain't nobody shooting and rolling. They shooting and they standing there with their head on the platter.
Bow! And I mean, I got all the bullets in the clip already. They're not. I got the keys. Like I said, we're gonna be bringing more shows. We got the Brain Show coming back, and I'm just gonna be rocking out and keeping this channel
I appreciate
going. And I got a
it. Keep it
series
going.
of presentation. Y'all did exactly what I wanted y'all to do. Y'all opened up the place for the
Fed
nerds to get
into it.
in. We could talk
Fed
about
into it.
science all day.
He fed into it. My favorite subject. My favorite subject to talk about is Charles Darwin, evolution, and science. Man, I communicate that. You get
I
it?
got the nerd in me. I've already got 6 more presentations lined up for y'all. I mean,
Keep
y'all
going.
just open a can of worms.
I get it. I didn't even know they was that interested, man. And hopefully now, as they parents listen to the shows, right? The youngsters around them take notice, yo. Yeah,
Yeah,
I appreciate. And then seeing all the rookie mistakes is interesting to me, bro.
yeah.
I was like, man, I remember Sosa say, you say, man, they're not gonna be able to get it. It's the word. I was like, huh? I thought
Come
people
on.
could, the way people talk crazy about the way I mispronounce words or something. I was like, man, I know. I know people can comprehend what they read. Then I realized that's a real limitation. And then that black algae paint, yeah, that kind of that throw you be reading something in the black algae, change the words right on the page there. So,
In the paper,
And
right? In real time.
w-
That's the reason why I, I stood so rigid, right? Because I knew we were gonna get around to it. Science is methodological naturalism. I didn't do much explaining. I didn't go in because I understand how the
I mean,
community
you're an
works now.
atheist, huh? That means you gotta be an atheist to practice science, huh?
Huh? No,
yep.
That,
no.
that's what they
That's
say, nigga. What you mean? That's what I heard.
what?
But
Heard it
7%,
was a heard it
That's
was a warning
irrational,
shot.
though. That's
but
But I
seven
heard
irrational.
it was
percent
it
of the
was it
crop.
was a warning shot from a rookie. Rookie
A
mistake.
warning shot?
Warning
Huh?
shot. You didn't. I say, yo, there's some homework on the tape. I say, go check that homework out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Go
I
check
know.
that homework out.
Yeah, go check the homework
Anyway,
out.
anyway, find it.
Yeah.
I find a lot of disrespectful rookies. That's all I'm gonna say.
But let me say this real quick, without any necessity to investigate. Anyone making such said claim that you need to
Mm-hmm.
be an atheist to practice science is let me choose my words wisely. Is again ignorant to the subject matter we're dealing with. Is
Yeah.
a philosophical framework under which something operates has nothing to do with my personal belief system.
Right.
Don't we go to Christian churches, a Christian hospital, St. Jude's
Yeah.
Hospital for the kids?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so that's not a scientific hospital because it's named St. Jude, according to Reggie's logic.
There's that word. There's that word. Scientific. Go ahead, sir.
So when you so the laboratory that I work in such an institution with a
Mm-hmm.
with a Christian name
Mm-hmm.
created by Christian societies or by Jewish societies and their religious
Mm-hmm.
organizations. They build these institutions because they believe in helping humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make them now atheists? Because within those frameworks,
Thought it
it is
did.
only science and methodological naturalism apply?
I thought y'all promoted that. I thought the Psuedokillas promoted that. You
Huh?
sure? Are you sure?
What? Christian, non-Christian?
You know you've been accused of that though.
No, my personal atheist
Got
position.
threatened. You got threatened. Let's
Huh?
say that. It's called
Oh,
we literally got threatened.
wow.
Wow.
Wow, that's
Wow.
I'm offended. I believe that
Yeah,
everybody
me
should
too.
have their cultural containers and engage in whatever spiritual practice they want to engage in. The only thing is when you argue the reality of certain metaphysical claims, my reasoning skill allows me to say, wait a minute, I'm going to look at nature and for a natural explanation for a particular phenomena. Or do you have a particular phenomena that is outside the scope of nature? Then I'm free to deny accepting that claim. However, no one's belief system is in question when you're engaging in science.
Mm-hmm.
These two are not atheists and science and scientists or scientific are not mutually exclusive.
No. So Cedric, let me ask you this. Uh Methodological naturalism. Can we agree that's basically saying nature is the authority? Can we not agree to that?
Yes, it's a philosophical position that says nature is the authority and not humans.
Mhm.
Your opinion don't matter. Let's find out what's going on in nature. Let's investigate it.
So
Your authoritative claim without actual evidence is not valid.
yeah, so that would kind of start to eliminate the hunter gatherers now, wouldn't it?
Yes.
That push the Egyptians. They can't even come through the door. The door is locked.
No. No. Their philosophical framework is the nature's responsible. The natures did it.
Mhm. Yeah, don't mess up when you copy the text over. Don't leave the
No,
guards
no,
on.
no, no, no. Tradition,
Yeah.
tradition is paramount. The old way is the best way. Now, science says, to hell with tradition. I don't care what you know. I want to talk about the things we don't know.
Yeah.
So with
So
that
then
reference, go
so
ahead.
them Greeks, they I would say they took a step forward in the conversation with.
Yeah. They said, you know what? We're gonna take God up the sky and we're gonna put God in nature itself. We're gonna make nature the God.
Pantheists, correct? Okay.
Pantheism, yeah, sort of
Mhm.
early pantheism, and teleological in its objective and authoritative. So still deductive reasoning instead of
Mhm.
data empiricism.
So
Can
we
I?
recognize Egyptians as being pantheists. You go ahead. You was about to say something, Silvio?
Yeah, I was gonna ask that question about the Egyptians.
Oh, yeah, they
But
was pantheists too.
you got it before me because
Hmm.
I, it's, great minds think alike. It's cool.
Hmm. Yeah, but they didn't question that. You gotta.
Nah,
They didn't put that
nah,
up. They
there
didn't put
wasn't
that
no
up to question.
questioning with it.
Yeah,
Right,
they kept it.
right,
Now, don't get it. Now, I'm not speaking to absolutes. I'm pretty sure there's plenty of people walking around there questioning. I'm pretty sure somebody
right,
can find an individual doing it, but there was no institution around that. So I think,
right.
and Cedric, I think from day one, um, I don't think we denied like individuals being able to do certain things, right? I never denied that.
No,
You
no.
right?
Atheism is a strictly individual position. Even the pseudo killers, once you are able to make that distinction between your personal belief and methodological naturalism, science and its boundaries, then there's no reason you can be a pseudo killer. And,
Correct.
and there's no reason that we as a scientific group, shout out to Sosa, shout out to Chill. We explore the phenomena of belief and how it comes to be, the effects, how it occurred. That's a part of anthropology. So even as a pseudo killer, we do not dismiss religion. We just
No.
take it as an anthropological exercise and one that has to do with neuroscience. That's the two
Mm.
aspects in which we engage. However, we do not deny anybody's right to their religion. We don't even fight against it. Like that's not how we operate.
Yeah, yeah. You just can't come at me with your religion as a bat. Then I gotta take the bat out your hand. I gotta
Yeah,
take the gun out your hand. I mean, give me
yeah.
that. Give
Give
me
me
that.
that.
Yeah, just give me that. Yeah, knock it off. Yeah, knock it off.
So maybe it's because in certain environments like Sonetta TV or certain platforms, I debated a paradigm shift, and you're holding and maintaining a position as an interlocutor, right? You're
Hmm.
very rigid in your position, right? Because you are debating, right? But that doesn't mean in the sense of conversation or in the sense of dialogue that you are maintaining that rigid position. That makes no sense. First of all, you don't need to be an atheist to be a scientist. I'm completely confused about the whole conversation. That's just dumb at this
We
point. What?
well, we got our feelers out there. We'll figure out who's making those types of statements. It's
Aren't
gonna pop up.
what
So let me finish.
doesn't
So
Neil
let me.
deGrasse
Oh, go ahead.
doesn't Neil deGrasse Tyson isn't he fond of saying 7% of the world's top scientists believe in some type of deity,
Yeah,
some
I don't
type
know
of
what people.
personal God?
Yeah, I don't know what.
I don't know what
Him and
people are
Dawkins had a
talking
great.
about at this
Him and
point.
Dawkins had a great conversation around that. Right. Talk about the different
Great
levels of
conversation.
science. Talk about the different levels of science and how the highest colleges, the royal colleges, that
Yes, I
that
saw it.
although some science, yeah, this although some sciences at that level, the level is less of those actually believe. But even when you ask them what they believe, they remove out all the spooky.
Hmm. Yep.
So okay, so the Egyptians, you know, they didn't make that separation, because we was kind of talking about methodological naturalism, and so then you come to the so okay, so we let's go to the Muslim period.
Yeah, the Muslims operated
Mm,
under the same authoritative framework of natural philosophy.
Staring,
They
hold on, what's the word I want to use? Not Platonian or man, what's his name? What's the Greek philosophy?
Aristotelian, Aristotelian,
Aristotelian. Yeah, so they,
yes.
they kind of operated under that framework. So
Yeah.
we don't have to argue that. Am I correct?
No, no, there's no
They
arguing
they
that.
never all right, they never actually broke away from that framework, right? And they never broke away from that framework, but we didn't say they didn't question that framework, right? But they never broke away
Yeah,
from
there
that
was
framework.
questioning within the framework.
Yes. Okay. Yep. Like that. And the word is, well, it's two words that deem them philosophers. Most people don't even know about the Islamic philosophy. So it's two words. I can't think of the two words right now. One begin with an F and one begin with a damn T, and I'm gonna figure it out in a couple of seconds. But so we can agree that they wasn't there yet. So where do you place that at? Where they get that? Where they fully blown put that into effect? Where you placing it at?
You place that in the scientific revolution, 1700s to the 1900s. You have the scientific revolution where both the philosophical framework is being developed, and within that framework, you are getting the scientific method, the tools. Right now is where the Islamic precision in their instrument productions and their mathematics and their experimentation comes back into the toolkit of of methodological naturalism. So now your observations, how you do your observations, what you look at, these precisions are starting now to develop within the framework. The toolkit is being armed. The conversation, what we see is happening is because historians, what they would do, they would see the toolkit that we have and go and look in history, in cultures, and see what aspects of the toolkit they see. So they're going to see the experimental aspect of the toolkit being developed, highly developed within the Islamic Revolution. But it's under a particular framework. So now historians are not confusing the two. So they can talk about being very scientific and illustrating particular methodologies without making the leap right, out of natural philosophy to methodological naturalism. There's almost 2,000 years of difference between these two philosophical concepts.
All right. So we leave it. Let's leave out of that area. Let's leave out the House of Wisdom. So we're gonna place that in the scientific revolution. Then, am I correct? You
Go
hear
ahead.
me?
No, 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 couldn't hear you. Go ahead, say again. Repeat.
Okay, I say so. So we're gonna place that within the framework of the scientific revolution, where you start to find those people
Yeah.
that methodological naturalism. Am I correct?
Yes, within the scientific revolution. Why? Again,
Scientific
um,
revolution.
the break from authority, the
Mm,
Aristotelian authoritative concept fell away because we realized, or they realized, they didn't know. So now that causes an epistemic crisis, right? Because
mm,
epistemic means your knowledge system, how you know what you know. It was the authoritative dictates of the Aristotelian, the Thales, and the Democritus. These were the people that said how things were. Their system was natural philosophy, aka they were allowed to make shit up.
yeah. So, all right, so now we moving into Francis Bacon, and then prior to that, we talk about that sailing around trying to get a better trade route to China
Hmm.
actually bumps into Barbados,
Hmm.
and this right here throws everything, like you said, into crisis, and it throws
Yeah.
everything into question, because now you're trying to explain away how the hell is it that you got these groups of people that you've never seen before and knew about in the history of humanity. There's flora, okay, and fauna, right, that you've never experienced before, and so you're
Mhm.
questioning that authority now. That
Yeah.
that authority that you said that had that holding on to that, that point that would stop you from getting into the points you've been making about the
Hmm.
methodological naturalism, right? They completely break tradition
Yep.
based off of that, right?
Yep.
It showed those Europeans that, man, look, check this out, bro. We don't know what the hell we thought we knew, and and the system that we're pushing forward didn't even know. Hey, remember? What's the church? I mean, you know what? I'm gonna go to that article, bro, and it's one of the church fathers, not the church. I'm gonna say one of the bishops that was kind of saying people was walking upside down with if it was somebody there.
I think it is not Thales himself, but one of the church fathers who said, well, if there's another side of the world, they would
Hey,
obviously
what?
be walking upside down. Logical. Logical. Completely logical. That's preposterous to assume that there would be anyone on the other side of the world. How would that work?
So
Impossible, preposterous.
is it? So is it around about 230 BCE that Aristophanes he measures the shadow in Egypt into in a well and into another country, and he recognizes that the Earth it's actually round, right? And it starts the scientific field of
325
geodesy. Now what? There's that word again. The scientific
geodesy.
field of
Yep.
geodesy. Hey, she said it. He said they had a science. See, it's those terms. I will be doing a show on that, on those terms.
Hmm.
Scientific, scientific thought, scientific brain, scientifically, in the word science. In this conversation, if you don't have that, if you don't have that, you're gonna see we're playing Major League Baseball over here, and everybody keeps stepping up, and we're at bat. We're definitely at bat. We're bad. We're on offense, right? We teach them on offense, and we got these Louisville Sluggers, right? And
Hmm.
instead of throwing a hard ball, y'all playing underhand softball, slow pitch.
Yes, sir. Sunchild, your device is not connecting. That's why I kicked you out. So try again. Try again. I'm gonna kick you out so you could come again. Green.
Yo, Ced, you killing me, man. You killing me. You killing me.
Praying, praying.
You making my presentation obsolete, bro. You doing a good ass job.
Oh man, I'm sorry,
No,
man.
it
But
ain't.
yeah,
No, it ain't.
no, it ain't.
It ain't obsolete, bro.
No, it ain't,
Everybody
man.
uh,
got to say it a little different. Everybody say
Yeah,
it a little
yeah,
different.
yeah. No, I peep what I'm gonna do though. It's a little, a little. I got a little couple of nuggets that I'm just gonna add on to said. You know what I mean? Because he doing a good ass job. And that's kind of where I was gonna take it. Because
It seemed like these guys, man, we talk about it all the time, man. These guys got comprehension issues.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like to the fact that this dude trying to chef really thinking he can get that off. He trying to replace scholarly review with peer review.
Yeah, he
And
trying
he
to do
really
that.
and he really doesn't see how that's a difference. And like and as I've been digging, I'm like, yo, man, just like all right, we was going back and forth about like Newton, Darwin, and them guys,
Mhm.
and and it was a question. Well, was they doing science, and we was going back and forth. And
Mhm.
what I realized is science is not a solo endeavor.
Oh
Like,
no.
and I specifically looked this up. It took the people in the British Science Society. They accepted Newton from day one because he was one of them and he was the smartest one out of them. It took Europe 20 years to catch up to Newton and to really be like, oh, you know what? This guy, what he's doing is right. And it took them 20 years. It took Darwin 30 years to get that scientific acceptance. And I say that to say that's real peer review because they were pioneers. They had to slow down and let people catch up to them so they could even review what they did. Because when you creating something new, who's around to study it? Ain't nobody around to study it. So that's why it literally took them decades for them to get peer reviewed and confirmed. And then you fast forward to 200 years to Einstein. Einstein, people don't even realize Einstein didn't run experiments. He was a theoretical physicist.
Hmm.
So everything he did was in his head. It was math. So when you go read relativity, it's a bunch of equations with him explaining, I did this here, I did this here, I did this here, and by the time he came around, it only took 4 years for them to come up with an experiment to prove relativity was true. It was the if y'all remember it, it was the one with the eclipse and seeing the star that was invisible before the eclipse, and that showed that space time was literally bending
Mhm.
because of the immense gravity. And so you go from in Darwin and Newton's time, it took decades for you to get reviewed to the point where you're in the 1900s and it's only taken Einstein 4 years. That's peer review. It's not
Hmm.
people in your own university in your own backyard checking your work. No, that's not peer review. It's a
Nope.
bunch of people you don't know who don't care about you, who are just educated in the same discipline, and they are redoing your work. They're trying to falsify it. They're trying to duplicate it. They're trying to duplicate it while they're trying to falsify it at the same time. So
Yep.
it's like you cannot compare the two. The only time you can compare the two is when you have an agenda. And and those guys' agenda is obvious. It's obvious at this point. They just want to have feel good scholarship and they want to feel good about being black, which makes no sense to me because I'm saying what I'm saying, and I still feel proud about our contribution, not only in ancient times, but in the arena of what they call modern science. Like, so I don't see why it's a problem.
Yeah, it
Oh,
is no problem. I think Sunchild is up here. Let me just say this quickly. Tokori, I'm hosting a platform, bro. So the link is there for you to hit it. Of course, if you're coming up here, there's a prerequisite that you stay within the framework of the conversation. And the belligerency simply we don't want that. But otherwise than that, you can hit the link, bro. After I beat you up in a debate, I'm over. And especially the way I beat you.
Who you talking to? Who was you talking to?
The Corey in the chat says he's not gonna hit the link because I'm up here or whatever.
No, who?
Pan
What
African
court?
James,
What
you
court?
too.
I'm saying what court? Who you talking about?
Takori Dawson.
Dick Corey Dawson. Oh,
Yeah, 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 yeah. So,
nah, man. Don't
Sunshine,
worry about that. Don't worry about that, man.
what's good, Sunshine?
Sound
The
scared.
mic's muted.
Sound scared, man.
Cedric, how y'all doing? Psuedokillas.
What it do? What
Peace.
it do?
Yeah, don't come up here all friendly though. You've been talking cash, so you know what I mean. So I'll let smile.
I can't play it right now. I ain't drawing a line in the sand and like,
Yep,
listen, where you
yep,
at?
yeah. Where you at? Yep, yep.
I'm
Don't Don't mess
I'm
up.
still
Don't mess up.
I'm gonna love you whether you like it or not, brother. Still gonna
Yes.
love you, brother. But
Mm-hmm.
what I want to discuss today is monism and monads from the scientific perspective. Do we
The what?
understand what
No, we don't. I
monism,
don't. I don't. I
monism
don't
and
know.
monads? The science
No,
of
that
monism and monads?
is that what
Well,
we talking about right now, though? What we talking about?
Well,
No,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, brother. I should have said this is what I would like to discuss, and I'd like permission to perhaps change to something else, if you
No,
don't
no, no.
mind.
Hold on for a
If you
second.
do,
I'm
if you
trying to.
don't, then I got nothing.
No, no, no. Hold on for a second. I wanna deal with Preem for a second. Hold on,
Okay.
Preem. I want to
Uh-huh.
get this word. I want to get, and then we got. Hold on. Let me get this for you, Preem. Okay. It's called uh, uh hold on. Shukuk. Shukuk. No, Shukuk methodology. That's what they had. It should never be confused with peer review. That's what it's called. That's the
Mm-hmm.
that's the technical word.
Wow. Wow.
Shukuk. Right? It's an anachronism to put peer review back on that. We're not doing that.
Yep.
Right? We'll
Yep. And
just
that's
get
what
them
I found
completely.
out, bro.
Yeah, we'll just get them out of here with that. Like, but
Yep.
that's a scam though, right? Because if you're actually going to educate, then educate. Then just educate. You don't have to play the game, right? The game is to educate. Let's talk about what they had. You don't get that peer review to the 17th, 18th century in Europe with the Royal Society. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
And not
Shakuka.
even then. And not even
Yeah.
then, because
Yep.
The Royal Society had its biases. That's how, because the Royal Society, that's the word I was looking for too. The Royal Society, they
Shakuka.
accepted Newton's work on day one
Shakuka.
because it wasn't
Shakuka.
nobody around. It wasn't nobody around to check it. Who going to check the smartest motherfucker on the scene? You
Shakuka.
know what I
Let's
mean? And that's
let's say Shakuka.
and
Shakuka. We'll say Shakuka. Shakuka. We
yeah,
said that word.
yeah.
Shakuka.
So
All right.
yeah,
Yeah, that's funny. You
so
funny with that. You say one
you
about.
know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah, who out of them, who the fuck was going to check Newton back then? You know what I
Cause
mean? Like really, who
he made
who
his
was going
own
to check
math up.
Darwin?
Math
Yeah,
up.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. He made up
How you gonna
calculus.
check?
Who go?
He said
Yeah,
how you gonna check that?
yeah, how you know what I mean? So it's going to take some time.
You say
So
who
it's
gonna check?
like,
How you gonna check? He made it up.
yeah, this nigga made up his whole math. Who going to check him?
Oh hell no, yo, that shit crazy.
You got to go to him to check him.
Crazy. Yeah, hey
yeah,
man, can
yeah.
you check this
Take
out? Is
about
that number
6
right?
years to learn this stuff, and after you learn it, try see if you can dismantle it. But you need that 6 years to actually learn it, cause I mean,
Man,
Hmm.
no. See, you bring a fine nuance point to it, bro. You get it? Like how you gonna check something that he made up, yo? You never heard of it
Hmm.
before. How you gonna give a proper? Yeah, it's funny,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah, but
Yeah,
this,
I ain't tripping.
but when they say this shit out of context and don't really get deep into the weeds of the
Nope.
ramifications of what they're actually saying, don't you realize that if you're saying this, then but that's simple logic and deduction, if then
Uh
statements like you write in a computer program.
huh.
But they don't have that. They don't have that
No.
capability mentally. They just have an agenda and they want to cherry pick whatever fact they feel like is going to fit their agenda, and that's why they lose every time. Like the history, Joe, and the history and religion, we could debate that. Science, it ain't no debate.
Yeah, it ain't that.
And then they love talking about, well, you just read it off of Google, Wikipedia, nigga. Y'all can't get past that. Y'all not on. We not having no deep level conversations where all of a sudden Chat GPT and Google is obsolete. No, nigga, we're in grade school right now. We're in
Yeah,
high school. Nothing,
yeah.
no scientific conversation that we having is past high school level.
Right,
None of them.
right.
None
So
of
what
them.
we talking about?
So yeah. So what are we talking? You need a paper for what, nigga?
Oh,
And if
that's.
we gave you the paper, you wouldn't be able to understand it with your half illiterate ass.
Oh, you talking about the
I'm
polymath.
talking about I'm talking about all of them, whoever, all them niggas. I'm
you're
talking
the
about all
barbershop,
of them.
the
This whole
barbershop crew,
community. I'm
the
talking about this
barbershop crew.
whole community. I'm talking about Reggie, the barbershop crew, Sinetta. I'm talking about whoever, whichever one of them niggas you want to line up. They don't. They are. Oh,
Look,
my fault.
leave Simon out of this. Leave Mount out of the conversation. Leave my man out of
Whoever,
that.
like whichever one of them, because y'all
Leave him
dependent
out of that.
on pseudoscience, and y'all really think y'all going to come at people that do this for a living with y'all uneducated asses. Like seriously,
Yeah, I don't know, bro.
the ego that it takes to even believe that needs to be studied.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
know what? I'm
Straight
not going
up.
to tell you. I'm not going to tell you what colleges, right? But I will tell you black universities that
Mhm.
I can go into and teach a class or two. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say that. Give a lecture. Let me make it even better. I can give a good lecture on the origins of STEM. You know what I'm saying? All right.
Yeah,
Now take that and run with that. Run with that. And give the breakdown and never make the mistake. You know what I'm saying? And never make the mistake in calling scientific science. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
different.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
different. It's a
It's
different
different.
animal.
First year,
It's a
first
different
year,
It's a
animal.
different animal. It's a
yeah,
Different
different
first year,
animal,
animal.
bro. Different
first
animal.
year
Matter of
of
fact, I'm gonna
college.
show my class.
Yeah.
Huh?
I went to what you call it, a technical college, right? I went to a laboratory college. So my 4 years of training was in laboratory science. So your first year, first trimester is the philosophy of science. So I'm like, okay, come into the community. I see what's missing. So I go straight there. Let's start at the framework, methodological naturalism. We're in a community that is hooked out. The one thing you need is to separate your belief from your science. So methodological naturalism is the foundation, the structure in which we operate. Again, I've been doing this for over 4 years. It is Sosa says it's my favorite word. It needed to be, and now
Oh
we
yeah,
see why.
methodological. What did I tell you when I heard it? What did I tell you? What did I say?
I'm saying I ain't too sure about that one yet, so
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
gonna
know about
study up.
that. So I say I'm listening. Yeah, I'm not fighting on that. I want to understand it, and so I've been listening for the last shit. You talked about it 4 years ago, so I had a basic grounding in it, but we hadn't really. I didn't know we was gonna get deep in the weeds like that, right? But yeah, man, instead of people just doing like I do, when Shalimbe and them or Miss Tiff or anybody bring up someone, Anthony, especially Anthony, when y'all start bringing that shit up, I'm like, hold on, all right, let me see. Let me see how y'all work it out, right? And then I can put some simplistic shit on it after I get the concept down and then actually go read something on it. So you know what I mean? So yeah, bro, they didn't give you a chance, but they shot you down, yo. They ain't shoot you down. They was shooting spitballs at you.
Yeah,
But they
but
spitball. You saying, man, what is this? They
yeah,
spitballing right now.
yeah. So that's why I came out stoic out from the moment I saw Reggie pump his chest out there, sounding ignorant.
Beat his
I said, you
chest.
know what? I'm a put on the screws. I'm gonna make them angry. Science is methodological naturalism, nothing else. If that's not your foundation, you ain't practicing science. Go cry. I don't care. The Egyptians ain't practicing science. Not even the Greeks were practicing science. Deal with it. The Europeans started it. Done.
Yeah.
Because I
Did you
know I
do
was
the
putting somewhere they needed to get forced into.
Did you do the like when you start a new episode, they kind of give you the backstory how you got to that episode.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Remember Kyle said that, give him the back play, right? You know what I mean? So I want to add this to it. The conversation actually started with a presentation I did, and
Mm-hmm.
then a conversation in the presentation, and then the young brother, well then King J and Bomb Squad member, actually fucking they did a debate. All right, so I'm gonna replay that debate. They did a debate on the subject, right? And before the debate, Ashe came out hollering about, why you throwing the Africans out? I was like, huh? I mean, I'm not. Why you disrespecting the ancestors? I was like, what? Right? And the next day, Reggie did a whole presentation, which he threw you off the panel. Remember that he threw you off the panel, and because he didn't want the word proto science, and because he hurried up real quick and Googled it and came up with some you can it can be used to quote unquote demoralize or take it away from what the people was doing. But we've
Hmm.
never done that though.
Nope.
Can we agree to that? I've never done that.
No, never done that. That's not, and that's why, again, because we're ahead of the curve, right? So we actually understand that historians, anthropologists are now not talking about ancient science. They're talking about ancient
No.
knowledge system, because
Yes.
science is something inherently
Get the
modern.
heck out of here. Yeah.
So historians are moving away from using terminology which attempts to or seem as if they're equating, right? This is very scientific over here. So they're moving away from these things. They are looking at these cultural containers holistic as a
Mhm.
holistic unity, right? And unit, and not necessarily from compared to modern science, because science
Agency.
is modern. So there's no ancient
Yes.
science.
Yeah. Yeah, we can
There
start
is
that
no
up too.
linear progression.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's no
It's
linear
no
progression.
origin. Yeah, it's no one set origin. We got that. And it's better to talk about the wisdom knowledge empirical systems that the humans in the past came up with, right? And to respect
Yes,
what that
that's
is. And
correct.
I say, okay, Reggie, no more proto science, right?
No, you don't
You know what
get
I mean?
proto
No more
science.
proto
No.
science. I say traditional medicine, right? Like anybody that study Africa, West Side is medicine, traditional, medicine, empirical system, right? Let's
Yeah.
talk about that. And then they was like, what? You kicked it up. So we go there, right? And we don't use the word science, right? Because we know they don't understand the word science, right? And then
Then they get
and then
mad. Then they
then
get
they get
mad
mad.
because you
How
say they
you
not
say we ain't had no
scientists.
science? I was like, wait a minute. Ifa did that. I said, but Ifa, y'all just screamed about proto science. I said, and by the way, proto science is not science, bro. I thought they knew that proto science wasn't science. I was just saying the thing that precursor to science. You get it? Yeah, I mean,
But the
that's
linear
teaching motherfuckers about
progression mind
technologies. I
does not
say, hold
understand that
up.
when we talk about science, we're talking about the framework, the system in which you acquire knowledge. They are looking at the methodology, the tools used, and thinking that's a one equation of ancient science to modern science. The
Yo, what
whole
did Sosa
framing.
say, yo? What was it? What was it that Sosa said today, nigga? He said people wasn't sitting there attempting to do science or something. What was it?
No, yeah, they are not failed attempts at modern science. They want their framework wasn't to do science.
Trying to sit there trying to
Science
yeah.
is a
Something else he
particular.
said though, yo. It was something else he said. What was
Yeah,
it, yo? Remember?
they
Are you
didn't
talking about
fail at these things.
Are
Huh?
you talking about
Go
Mark? You
ahead.
talking about Mark and when you flick? He told me when Malcolm made the analogy of flicking the lighter.
Yeah, that's
They were
deep.
just flicking the lighter.
Right, right.
Yeah.
That's we'll get there. And what did Sosa say though? Prior to that, remember? It was two.
Sosa said that ancient cultures weren't on failed attempts at modern science. That's not their framework. That's not what they were doing. So it's
Hmm.
not as if they have early science or failed attempts at science. Their
Yeah,
framework
well,
wasn't to do science.
yeah. They wasn't trying to sit there. Yeah, absolutely. There you go. Spectacular. Then Malcolm say, "Well, wait a minute." He say, "By the time you get to the house of wisdom, the light was flickering."
Yeah, you're flicking the lighter. You're flicking the lighter.
Yeah.
Another 2,000 years, and boom, you got full ignition.
I
Uh,
ain't lying. I ain't lying. I gotta
smoke,
admit it, yo.
smoke, but
Smoke,
no cigar,
no
yo.
cigar. Yeah, smoke but no cigar. What's up, Geller? Pseudokillas, what's good, bro? I ain't know you
What's
was on here,
good with
man.
it, man?
Man, just having a
Man,
great conversation.
yeah, I've been plotting, man. I'm putting together, try to put something together about Catarini monkey. I
There's
might
a
even,
threat. There's a
I might
threat.
even I might even give Clint Reptiles a call in Utah and see if he's willing to have a conversation with us.
Yeah, well, you better beat everybody to it since you didn't called it out for no reason.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
No reason. Yeah, you got threat. That's another threat. That was another threat. Don't ever say that uh humans are monkeys or old world monkeys.
Yeah, we are
yeah.
old
Okay,
world.
I'm
Man,
gonna
it's a
say it.
threat.
I'm
It's a
gonna
threat.
say it. It is what it is. He don't even
It's a
understand
Catarrhini.
threat.
the argument, yo.
Yeah,
It's
we
a
are
threat. He
Threat.
don't even
Catarrhini.
understand the argument.
Yeah,
Threat.
we are Catarrhini / Old World Monkeys.
Threatening.
Caterini, aka
Threatening.
Old World Monkeys. We are West Side Jungle Monkeys.
Yeah, you wild for that. See, that's the shit that gets in trouble. Hey, I'm not agreeing to that. I'm not signing off on that. Take me out
Yeah,
there and
because
call me.
because because if you want to make the smallest class, excluding everything else that's not monkeys, you have to start with the simians. You know what I'm saying? If everything that descends from simians and monophylum, if everything descends from that ancestor from simians on forward, is a monkey, yo. That's monophylum right there, one on one, easy. You know what I'm saying? What type of monkey is a Catarina? You know what I'm saying? Just because you signified and labeled only want to label the serial picture scenes as that, don't mean that's scientifically sound or scientifically consistent.
Yeah, that's somebody
Welcome,
trying
Chris
to say
MVP, to the panel. What it do, Chris?
that fire
I like
show.
the
That
show.
fire show. Man, tap into that show he did yesterday. He's the only one not trying to kill me. Everybody else was killing.
You
Trying to
see what
kill
I
me.
said was fire show. That was a fire show.
Appreciate
Y'all
you,
need to
bro.
check out that show, bro.
Shit, I couldn't go nowhere on YouTube and they were killing me. I say, damn. Ah, shit.
Well, you know what? People are holding on to this old scientific paradigm, like it's like we held on to religion at one point. So
Mm-hmm.
I just got off the phone with a friend of mine, a close friend of mine, and I was telling him, I said, "Hey, listen, I gotta concede. We gotta concede this thing here. He's right. Things that you guys are deeming science are not scientific, as Gullah was saying. You see what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
just understanding the difference between, say, for instance, JJ was bringing up material science.
Mm-hmm.
Material science is just at this. What he was explaining was the knowledge of certain materials being
Right.
used amongst ancients. It was not
Mm-hmm.
talking about them being scientific, um, um, them being scientific with the materials. They were not. There was
Mm-hmm.
no imperial data. Excuse me, I say imperial empirical data being collected
Mm-hmm.
when they were making bow and arrows or anything else like that. It just wasn't so.
Mm.
You know, like indigenous black men were saying. There was no data collected. You know, they were just using the materials they had available. So,
No,
yeah, it was real bad. You know, and just what I've been seeing on YouTube right now, man. I'm just holding my nose right now. It stinks, man. People need to step this shit up for real. Just read a couple of articles, and I'm gonna live tonight, and I'm gonna talk about the difference between science and scientific, so you guys can get out of this paradigm, because y'all are stuck right now. A lot of people are stuck, and they're thinking that we're just coming against Africa for some odd reason. You know what I'm saying? We're not. We're not doing that. No one's doing that. You know what I'm saying? We're just showing you the application of science and what scientific is. So it took a while for me to understand it too. You know what I'm saying? So y'all know me, man. I dive on in I dive on in the book. So it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all thumb up the show, like the show, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Let's get the channels rolling. And go over there, check out Chris' show last night. That was hilarious. Oh my God. Between Chris and Kyle, man, JJ got cooked. Shout out to JJ. It's all
yeah,
love,
they
JJ.
cooked
It's
them
all
up.
love.
So Chris, where Chris at? Chris, hello? Can
I'm
y'all
right
hear
here.
me?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, I'm still here.
Y'all can still hear me? Yeah, because my phone went out. So yeah, yo. So whenever you hear somebody being scientifically or scientific, that doesn't mean that they was practicing science. Yo, that's another thing.
Right.
So I'm gonna teach that class in a couple of days, and I think Chris, you're gonna go over that, right?
Yeah, I'm going over that. That's where we're gonna stay at right
All right,
now. We staying
yes,
there
that's
right
important.
now. Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody got to do it the way they do what they do. That's why I was saying, Preem, you got to do it the way you do it. Everybody got to do it the way they do. It's important, yo. So they sitting there thinking we nuts. I'm sitting there saying I didn't need a class to know. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm reading articles and it say one thing, if they give you the history of anything, then there's a history. You know what I'm saying? It's not just one. History is not made up of one thing, right? Especially when you say the history to now, that means there's things that occurred, right, in the history of certain events. You know what I'm saying? So scientific method, history of science. There's a
You know, so that word science can be a placeholder so that you can kind of understand what we're saying. We don't want to make up a brand new term, right? But the reader, based off of comprehension, should recognize that we're not saying that hunter-gatherers practice science, or the Egyptians or the Greeks, right? How could they practice science when the Greek where science comes out of Greek philosophy? And then guess what? They'll sit there and they'll actually read that and not know what it's saying. It's wild,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah, it is.
Them
It's really
terms,
not fair. Really,
it
it's
ain't
not fair. And what people
it
are
ain't fair.
doing, what they're doing is somehow they try to galvanize. Say for instance, they're trying to galvanize you against a pro Afrocentric audience. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
really a bandwagon. I can
It's-
clearly see that it's going on. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But remember, the one who's coming out of the how can I say it? The deep sleep. He's the one
Yeah.
that's gonna be shunned. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
we want to think everything is the way we were taught. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Mhm.
There's a problem when you're not learning anymore. You know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
a problem. You should ask
Mhm.
yourself, man, why have I stopped learning? Why haven't I grown at this? And we all also have to be honest. Outside of the original papyruses that
Mhm.
exist in Egypt, or the people that lived in Egypt at the time, everything you guys are getting are secondary and tertiary sources,
Mhm.
you know, or
Mhm.
commentaries about the way the Egyptians lived their life. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Mhm.
You're not getting it from them. You know what I'm saying? It's secondary and their tertiary sources, so
Mhm.
or commentary. So you
Mhm.
guys got to
Mhm.
understand that, man. Yes,
Hey,
yes.
I was watching Paradigm Shift this morning, Chris and Brother Hunt.
Yeah.
They were talking about they were talking about y'all and the idea that the
Mhm.
Greeks learned from the Egyptians, and they had pretty interesting sources. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Because I'm hearing a lot of
Did
Greek,
what?
and they were saying that,
Did
huh?
what? Did what?
That the Egyptians taught the Greeks learned from the Egyptians, their
Let me answer that.
philosophies, their
Let me
sciences.
answer
Go
that.
ahead. Go ahead,
Let me
bro.
answer that.
Go ahead.
Yeah. What exactly did the Greeks learn from the Egyptians, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh man, you being an asshole. There you go, Chris.
Well, they said,
Because to me, that doesn't mean anything.
well, for example, they said
There you go,
Pythagoras
Chris.
studied in Egypt for 20 years. Plato, who's a
Mhm.
philosopher, studied
Okay.
in Egypt for 13 years. And there are a
But
bunch
what did
of
they learn?
Yeah, he
well,
asked
they
a
learned
specific question.
philosophy, they learned mathematics,
Right.
Well, I didn't
geometry.
know Pythagoras. I didn't know Pythagoras taught the Medu-Neter. I didn't know he taught about the Egyptian gods. That's not what I learned about Pythagoras.
I didn't say that. I said they learned geometry. Pythagoras is known for geometry, so they are saying that he studied in Egypt for 20
Mm,
years.
Well, math.
Plato is
Hold
a
on, 1 second.
philosopher, so and he studied in
Okay, you're
Egypt for
meandering for
13
a minute.
years.
Give me a second.
Okay.
Wonderful. But unfortunately, math is not science. Math is abstract thought. And philosophy is
Well,
also a form of abstract thought. Those aren't sciences.
well, that's one of the things that they discussed as well. It was brother indigenous black man was on with. I
who?
know how
I'm
you
not
guys
Hold
about
on.
to
feel.
sit
Who?
here and have
I
no
know.
Yeah,
Listen,
we
conversation
I
heard
know
about
how
that.
that
you.
nut.
Yeah, we heard
Brother
that.
Chris, I know how y'all feel about him, but he's not the
No,
one who
no, it's not
developed. He didn't
that.
develop.
No, no,
He
bro.
No.
didn't. But what he spoke. What they spoke about was the
Uh-huh.
idea that
Mm-hmm.
Egypt, the Greeks learned from the Egyptians.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and what you just said, what did you just say? There's something you just said that comes from the Greeks, from the Egyptians as well, with
Mm-hmm.
the Greeks. So you have mathematics,
I
you
mean,
have philosophy,
so
you
hold
have
on, well, 1 second, 1 second. You haven't told us anything. You just told us that Pythagoras studied there.
Yeah.
You told us that certain philosophers studied there. But what you're doing is giving us a philosophical method. That's straw manning our position. We're talking about scientific study. That's what we are discussing. We're not talking about philosophy. That's abstract thought. That is not
right,
science. So, right off
right.
top, hold on, let me finish explaining. Don't talk over me. Come on, bro. What we doing that
Go
at?
ahead,
What
go
you
ahead,
guys
brother.
are
I'm
doing
listening.
now is, thank you. What you guys start to do is straw man your talking points here. We're not talking about philosophy. We're talking about scientific study based on empirical data. All right, that's what we are speaking on. Science, right? Pure science.
Yeah.
Science,
Well, they
technology,
discussed.
engineering, math. I don't care what Pythagoras studied at. It's irrelevant.
They discussed the idea whether mathematics is a science or not. You do not believe mathematics is a science?
No, why don't you pull that up
No,
right now? And you're
it's
gonna
a
find
tool.
out
It's
that
a
mathematics, it's not. Mathematics is based on abstract thought, and mathematics is not falsifiable. All right, mathematics is not a science. You learned that in the eighth grade.
yeah. It's
So
a tool.
let me
It's a
let,
it's a tool, yo. It ain't no. It
let
ain't
me
science,
let
yo.
me let me let me add this in. So whenever I have ideas or whenever I'm studying,
Oh shit.
Dr. Oyamayat allows me conversation with her Rolodex of her colleagues, her doctors. So I get a chance to really mesh it up, right, with great minds that's actually on the level. And so, when you talking to a person that has a doctorate and they're a professor in math, right? Your idea that you bring to him has to be coherent. And so I brought the idea to him, and this is what he said to me. I said to me, math is a tool, right? I said science is the why. He was like, "Yeah, absolutely right." He said, "But to me, it is a philosophical question, right?" He said, "And my personal opinion would be that, math is science." But he said it exquisitely. He said, "My personal opinion." He didn't say my scholarly, I can source it up. He said to him, if the question is philosophical, and his personal opinion is that it is science, right? And so we disagreed and we had great conversation, and I got the hell off the goddamn phone. So I will bring y'all the same conversations I had. So I'm still saying that based off the data that I can bring, that math is a tool, is logic, right? And science is the why. That's what I'm saying. All right. So
Yeah,
Okay,
and if
well,
you
let's
if you're if
let's
you're receiving
well,
any
well,
information from indigenous black man, I do want
oh,
to say
you're
something
done.
because he is
Yeah,
in the
you're done.
chat. Yeah,
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 I
I
do
you're
want to
will
done.
say
try to
something.
Oh, yeah, you're done.
no,
the
no. Listen,
let's
I
read
understand.
one just a
I
second.
understand.
Just a second now.
I understand the
Just a
feedback
second.
about indigenous
Just
black
a
I
man, and
got
I
second.
Yeah,
don't
he said just
disrespect
a
the brother.
second. 1 second.
Just a
Let
second.
Cedric talk.
Just a second. Let me read the comment from Sosa. He addresses your question right there. Why would the Greeks not learn from the Egyptians? Everybody
yeah,
coming from
man.
everybody. The question is, they did learn natural philosophy from a culture that did not practice it.
Yeah.
No. So the answer to the question is no. So the whole argument you're having and what those other dudes are having is a non sequitur argument. They're creating a straw man and they're
Yep.
beating up the straw man that has nothing to do with the actual argument. If you understand that natural philosophy is a particular framework in which knowledge was gained and it differs fundamentally from methodological naturalism, which
Hmm.
is a framework in which knowledge is gained. One is empirical, structured, and nature is the agent, and the other is metaphysical, and the human is the agent. When I say metaphysical, they're talking about reality, however, they are making it up.
Well,
Logical.
Cedric, can I say
Okay,
something?
okay.
Let
Can
me
I
cut in
read
real
something
quick.
and ask you
No,
a
So,
no, no,
question?
Cedric,
no. Let him
another
jump
thing.
in. Let him go. Then I'm next. Somebody else. Go ahead. Go
Where,
ahead, bro.
Chris?
Okay, so what I'm sitting up here saying is, when you came onto the panel, what you said is that Pythagoras studied in Egypt, and then you
Hmm.
said, well, he studied philosophy. Well, there are many forms of philosophy.
Uh-huh.
What specific philosophy did he study? Who was his teacher? Was it
Well, in,
scientific? Was it based on a? You're still talking. What was it specifically? Because
Hmm.
all I'm hearing is a bunch of talking points. And like I
Hmm.
said, you
well,
guys create these straw mans, or you present these straw mans that everybody's creating, and you attack the straw man, and you guys aren't attacking the arguments that we are presenting to the community.
Hmm.
Pythagoras is not a philosopher. I consider him a
Hmm.
mathematician, and that's what he's
Hmm.
known for.
Hmm.
Plato is the philosopher,
Hmm.
and we know
Thales.
the different types of philosophy that Plato
Still a
discussed,
straw
Yeah.
man.
such
Hmm.
as
They they
the creation of the universe and
Hmm.
so on, politics, what type of
Hmm.
how politics works and so on. So these
Hmm.
are the philosophies of
he
Plato,
Hmm.
which are considered to have been learned in ancient Egypt.
Hmm.
no,
Whoa, whoa,
Pythagoras
whoa,
was
whoa, 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 whoa! You got to freeze.
Pythag
No, 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 no! Stop,
Thank
stop,
you.
stop,
Stop him.
stop, stop, stop,
that's
stop,
not
stop.
true.
Hold on. Let me wait,
That's
wait. Let me just make my statement. I suggest, because I just want to give you my study pattern real quick. Basically, challenge all the shit that you thought you understood and knew. So there's a great source. There's a peer review source that you can look up, Thales and all the Greek philosophers and all that shit, and you can say, what did he learn? And he probably would have learned like geometry, because the Egyptians were renowned and setting those boundaries again after the flood of the Nile. So they had to figure out a system, right? Geometry, right? They're credited with that. And so he may have learned and studied geometry, but then you would ask yourself where the records is proving that, right? And so right now I'm going to settle on geometry, and I'm also going to say that, well, that makes sense because it's a learning center, and so it wasn't just quote unquote Egyptians there. It was people from the Mediterranean world, right? Actually studying some things. So that's where I'm at with it.
Okay,
It
let me
was
ask you guys a
it was
question. Let me
definitely it was
Now you gotta let
definitely
Preem go. Let Preem go. Go ahead,
It
Preem.
was
Go ahead,
it was
Preem.
definitely
Hey,
geometry, but it was
Mm-hmm.
also astronomy and it was philosophy. That's what it was. It wasn't They weren't going into deep science and things of that nature. They were teaching what they knew. And basically, you was on point with the geometry thing and with the astronomy because the same geometry that applies
There's that
to
word.
to
There's
deep
that word.
to
Okay.
demarcating the boundaries after the flood is the same geometry you can use to gauge the stars. So it's all in the same vein as far as where they were at mentally. As far as what we was talking about is math science. Science is broken down into three distinct things. Natural science, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about natural science. We're talking about the cause and effects in the natural world. That's when we're in this conversation, that's what we're talking about. Then you got your social sciences. They're called soft science. Just dealing with people, dealing with how people relate to each other. So they may get into statistical modeling and see how populations move based off of a certain stimuli or whatever. And no, that's social science. The third form of science is formal science. And
Mm-hmm.
formal science is the study, it's abstract concepts, it's the systems, and it's structures like logic, mathematics, statistics, and your computer software development would also fall into that. So
Mm-hmm.
while
wait, am I
mathematics is
hearing
a
you? Am I hearing
science,
you?
hold on. While mathematics is a form of science, it's more a soft science, just the way social science is, and it's not natural science, which is what this discussion is about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Hey,
I hear you
hey,
saying so
hold
I
on,
hear
yo.
you.
Hey, so what was it that you said in the server earlier? I want to get that off real quick. So what was it? Because I don't think we can't quite got that right. I thought you were saying they wasn't sitting there trying to do science or something. It was the way you said it that was very clear. But go ahead,
I'm gonna
go
look for
ahead,
it.
bro.
He posted what he said, so I'm gonna look for it. I must go back from.
Okay, all right.
Well, I
Go ahead,
hear the
son. Go
brother.
ahead,
I heard
sunshine.
the brother Preem mention that there are different kinds of sciences, and then he mentioned formal sciences, in which he mentioned mathematics as a formal science. I asked ChatGPT, "Is mathematics a science?" And
Mm-hmm.
ChatGPT says, "Yes, mathematics is generally considered a science, but it's a different kind of science than fields like physics or biology. Here's the key distinction. How mathematics is like a science. It is systematic and logical. It builds knowledge through rigorous reasoning. It aims to discover universal truths like properties of numbers, shapes, and structures. How it's different from other sciences. Mathematics is a formal science, not an empirical one. It does not
Thank
rely
you.
on it does not
Thank
rely
you.
on experiments or
That's what
observation of the
Friedman said.
physical world. Instead it uses
Sunshine.
proofs based.
That's what Friedman
That's
said.
that's literally what I just said, bro. That's
Right,
literally what I
right,
just
right,
said.
Yeah,
right. So
and
the idea, so what
once
I'm
again, you're
saying,
falling.
and
The
I think where
argument
we
that
can
you're
agree.
using here
You
But
just
brother
want to
Preem,
argue,
it's
man.
Brother
not.
Preem, if I could just say this, if I just
Yeah.
allow me to
You just
say,
want to argue. You just
no,
read
no,
back
no,
to exactly what I
no, brother.
said.
I'm not trying to argue. I'm trying to find where we agree. Can we agree that mathematics is a science, but it's a
Yeah,
different
that's
That's
what he
kind of
do every time.
science?
No.
bro.
You just
I
read
just
that,
said it
bro.
was a formal science. I literally
Okay,
just
so
said
okay,
it's a hold on,
so
hold on,
now
hold on,
we
hold on, hold
agree.
on. No,
So
no,
now
no,
we
no, no,
agree that the
no,
Egyptian
no.
was
Let
that
me
the
finish because
Egyptian
let me
mathematics.
finish. No, let me finish. Let me finish
Yeah,
because you
I ain't
were
going
not
for that.
listening. You were not listening to me. I just went through the whole distinction of how mathematics falls under the formal science and how it's different from social science and natural science, which is what we are talking about. We are talking about natural science, not social science and not formal science. We're talking in this discussion, we're talking about natural science, physical cause and effect, and the underlying principles that govern it. That's what we're
Okay,
talking about. We're not
okay,
talking
now,
about formal science and we're not talking about social science. Because
okay,
again, I said, hold on, let me finish because you're not listening. You're trying to reply and you're not listening. I said, I started this whole thing saying it's three types of science: natural, social, and formal. You just literally read a whole paragraph, literally saying what I said, and now you're going to try to make the equivalent because the Egyptians were doing mathematics, and so that means formal science. So then the Egyptians were doing science. No, they were doing formal science. They weren't doing natural science, and that's the point we've been making. So don't try to get that off. So go ahead, make your point.
no, brother, I'm not trying to get that off. That is the only point I'm making is not about natural science in Egypt. We can get to that later, whether they were practicing natural science. But I think we can agree that they were practicing what we agree is
No, I'm
formal
not doing it.
science,
No, I'm not
which is
going. I'm not going with
mathematics,
none of that.
right?
All right.
You agree, you
I'm
do
not
Yeah,
agree
going with
that
that.
see,
they
see.
practice
Yeah, I'm not
formal
going.
Yeah, yeah,
science.
we
Yeah,
knew
I'm
you
not
Yes,
were.
but
going
that
with
we're
that.
not
I'm
talking
not going.
about that. We're talking
I'm
about
not going.
natural science.
Yeah, I'm
So it's
I
not
no
going.
need
understand.
to even bring up.
I
It's
just
no
Okay,
wanted
need
to
to
make
bring
it
that
I
up.
clear.
pulled
Yeah, I
up
just wanted to
the
make that clear
Natural.
that mathematics is a form of science, a formal
Okay,
science,
Chantel, we moving forward. No
and that
problem.
the
No
Yeah, it's
Egyptians
problem.
like,
I
come
said we
on,
moving
man.
practiced a
forward.
We
formal
don't have a
science at
problem
least.
with that.
We
We don't
moving
have a
forward.
Okay,
problem with
good.
that.
Moving forward.
Okay,
Moving
good.
forward.
Okay, good. I just wanted to clear that
You
up because
brought
I
that
heard
up for
someone
nothing.
because I heard someone say mathematics is not a science. So now we've
It's
cleared it
not
up that it's a
in the
different
no
kind of
in the
science.
listen in the context of what we're talking about. Natural science, mathematics is not a natural science. That's
right.
what we're
Thank you.
saying, and you want
I
to
That's not
understand,
ignore
brother.
that for some reason.
I
Mathematics is not a
understand. No, no,
natural
no. I understand.
science.
No,
All
I'm
right,
telling you.
all right.
I'm
You
I'm
based
gotta
on
telling you
look.
that I
abstract
All
thought.
right,
understand
It's
you
you.
not
gotta
Oh
based
look.
on.
Now,
goodness.
It's not
now,
based
You
on.
gotta look.
Yeah, he
Now,
just Sunchild
I
always
pulled
do
up.
this everywhere he go.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
pulled
He
up
do
yeah.
this all the
the
time.
comment from Sosa. Look at
All
this.
right, read it. Read it. Read it.
I said that the
If you
steps
got them
emerge
sources up
as
right
a
quick.
byproduct, not a direct result of. It was not an attempt to do science.
That's
So,
right, absolutely.
so
That's
what
it.
they, yeah, that's it right there.
What he's saying was they wasn't sitting there saying we practice the sign. We're gonna have all the steps we're gonna do it. That's the game they
Wah,
keep
wah,
playing with us.
wah.
Yeah, that's the
Now
game
you
they
see how
playing with us.
easy Sunchild's whole diatribe falls apart once we stick
Yeah, I'm
with
not
it
trying
with
to hear
the
that.
framework.
Man,
Once you
listen,
understand
man.
that everything the Greeks were doing was within the framework of natural philosophy, there's even no need to argue. They still weren't doing methodological naturalism. They weren't practicing science.
Right, I
So
don't
to
care what he
try
say. Yeah, that's just
shoehorn
stupid.
mathematics into the argument we're having is completely non sequitur. Like that illustrates you guys are grasping at straws, not understanding the subject matter, and that's why you get beat up every time. You keep looking silly. Oh, they had mathematics, thus they had science. No, that's within the realm
I
of
like that
technique.
preem. I like that
Mathematics is
preem.
yeah.
I
Yeah, because
like that preem. But
I knew that's
but
where
you
they
just
was
killed me.
going with it.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
but
see it
now,
coming.
now they're gonna fight that. It's too complicated of an idea. Trust me.
Man, half them niggas, half them, hey yo, half them
See,
brothers flunked math in high school. So what we talking? What we arguing with them on that for?
You
So it
ain't
don't
lying. You
matter.
ain't even lying. You ain't even
Shit.
lying. You ain't even
Now,
lying,
see,
yeah.
now they advocates for
see,
math.
because see the thing about it, no, and I didn't even get
so
into it, but See, they know. See, they know the difference.
That's
They know the
funny.
difference between a psychologist and a regular doctor. See what I'm saying?
Right.
So, when a psychologist falls under the social sciences, so they get, so they already know the concept of that something can
You
be called
sure?
a science and it's not the natural science. Well,
Are you
maybe.
sure? Are you
Oh,
sure?
then
Person
again, you
told
might.
me.
I might be
Person
giving them
told
too
me.
much credit.
Look,
You
person
right. You
told
right.
me
No,
You
no,
that the
right.
I
fact that they
only
have a
wanted.
bachelor. Come on, man. If you don't get called on, relax.
Okay,
Relax, bro. Just
I'm
relax.
just not
We
sure I'll
listen.
ever get called on.
Oh, you might not. You might be right.
Yeah,
But
well, I just wanted to
let
make
me
it
make
clear
my
that
point.
that
Let me
Might
make
science.
my
not.
point.
I
Let me make my let me let me make my
I at
point.
least wanted to
Might not.
clarify.
Let me make
Well,
my
I at
point.
least wanted to
No,
clarify,
come.
brother Aunt, that
No,
math
I just
is a
want to
form
finish.
of that math is a form of science, and
I
if
just want
any
to finish. I just
science,
want
if
to
we can
finish
give
my
the
point
Egyptians
without
any
talking
science,
over you, though, brother. I don't want to yell. Y'all can't be doing all that yelling, yo. Seriously, bro. It's like it ain't even worth it no more than me, yo. All jokes
Oh my
aside, yo.
God.
So I was told that a person has a bachelor in science, you know what I'm saying, has a science degree, right? And was a scientist. I've heard all these things.
You right. I'm giving them too much
Right.
credit. I'm giving
Yeah,
them too
bro. You
much
think
credit.
that I would
Yeah.
never, man,
Yeah.
please, man. You think they
Yeah.
understand
But
what you just said? You listen to Sunchild. He'll tell you what everybody think. Go ahead, Sunchild. What do you think when that man said that? Did Egyptians practice science or not? Go ahead, Sunchild.
well,
He's the canary in the room.
I leave the natural science. Whether the Egyptians studied natural science, I'm okay with proto science in
Okay.
the sense of natural science
We
that they
beat him back
practice
to
proto science.
these people, man.
As far as
These
modern science
people,
is
man.
concerned, it would be considered proto science. But mathematics
Mm.
is universal, and I think they did practice formal mathematics as a formal science. And there's really no mythology in
Circular.
mathematics. It's just numbers. It's all logical. So they did practice science in ancient Egypt, and that's all I wanted, a form of science at least with
Was it
mathematics. I'll leave it to
scientific?
someone
So
else
you
Hold
to
wanted?
on.
do
Was
the
it
natural
based?
Okay.
science
Was it
argument.
scientific,
Don't argue
Sunchild?
with
No, just let
Sunchild.
him go. Just let him go.
Let him
Just
go,
let him
bro.
Yeah,
go
he doesn't
Well,
because
understand. And
as
hold
he
on.
far
doesn't.
as
He
This
doesn't.
is what
He
I'm
doesn't.
saying.
Let Chris
He's.
speak.
This
Go
is
He's
what
ahead,
I want
Chris.
to show y'all.
yeah.
Go ahead,
This
Chris.
is the paradigm that they're stuck in. It's almost like from when you talk to them about proving God. They only want to say, look, the Egyptians were scientific. I'm sorry to tell you, Sunchild, they were not. I'm sorry, Babylonians were not scientific. It was philosophical. That's why math is based on
Mm-mm.
abstract thought. And you have
I
not
understand.
studied, you did some YouTube Google shit, and now you on here trying to argue with us. You're not gonna out Google me, bro. Ain't that what Unc say? You're not gonna out Google us. Stop it.
Well, you haven't shown any Google that says that mathematics is not a form of science. And I
Uh,
You.
think the brother Cream agreed with me, and that's
Exactly
what
your
I'm
No.
saying.
fallacy now.
Yes, but now, okay, now, but do you understand the difference between formal science and natural science?
No,
Nope.
ask
Yes,
him.
I do. Yes,
Explain
I
to
No,
do.
him
do
Yes,
you?
I
why
And
do.
math is a
what's the
form of science.
difference? What's the difference?
You don't know.
Well, I
You
can
don't
read
know.
it for you. I can read
What's
it
the
for you
no?
again. But
I
what
already
it is?
know.
But
No,
the
I'm just saying.
difference
No, no,
generally,
hold on. Stop, stop, stop,
is
stop,
that
stop.
mathematics does not. There's really it doesn't take.
Now he's
It's not an
meandering.
observable or experimental science. It
Mm-mm.
says, and that's
No,
what
that's not the
separates
all
it
right.
from
difference.
natural
Okay,
science.
that's
That's
enough.
not the difference.
That's
That's
Wrong.
not the difference.
yeah,
That's not
yeah.
the difference.
Wrong.
I think you
That's
need
not the
to.
I said,
difference.
All right.
listen,
Okay.
So,
That's not the
so all
difference.
right, all right.
What is the
Sunchild,
difference, brother?
Sunchild,
Tell
that's
me what
enough.
is the difference?
Sunchild, that's enough. I'm
we
gonna get
yeah,
you my
we done all
right.
that.
I'm done with that one. I
Can
think I'm gonna.
I ask a
No,
question?
No, nigga, you trying to overtalk the
boom, done.
conversation.
That's
Stop.
it. I ain't got
Moving
the
to the
patience.
next episode, yo. We're gonna move to the next part of the show. Can't keep doing this, bro. It's a headache. I can't do it.
Yeah,
Go ahead, yo.
y'all definitely
Yeah.
know that I ain't got that type of patience. Now,
Oh yeah,
I
you
think
gonna
this is
start wilding out. You on your best behavior. He gonna break it. He
yeah,
gonna break your fast.
yeah. Listen. Sitting at the helm gives you a whole nother sense of
Uh, oh
responsibility.
man,
Mm-hmm.
I can't hear somebody. Hold on, man.
Go ahead.
Gosh. So,
Go ahead.
yeah. This the comment. They practice astronomy and ancient chemistry. This was
Nah.
what we were talking about. When you
Mm-hmm.
read these historical documents, right?
Mm-hmm.
and you're reading a historian. They says it in the preface. Go back and look at my first debate over there on a paradigm shift against Doc Two Sweet. I opened the
Who's
debate
not a doctor or a scientist? But go ahead.
yeah, got these YouTube names, right? So
Hey,
No,
what
but she
channel we
actually
on? What
talked about
channel we on, guys? I'm trying to come in real quick. What channel are we
Pseudokillas.
on?
We're on the
on
Pseudokillas.
Okay,
PK Pseudokillas.
PK. Okay, Psuedokillas. All right, go ahead.
So so in the opening of that debate,
Mhm.
I said the terms we are going to be using are anachronistic at best. The ancients weren't using these terms, and they weren't necessarily operating under the same paradigm as these terms reflect. However, these terms are being used as placeholders, right? So when you make the analogy, or you go and you say um, um, the Egyptians practice astronomy, you're taking it a step too far, right? They were systematic in their observation of the night sky. Yes, there's a rudimentary form of what later developed into astronomy. The fact that it was empirical and systematic, it became a foundation for the later model that became astronomy. But they weren't actually practicing astronomy,
Uh-huh. Yeah, we're
right?
gonna do a whole show on those words right there, buddy, because they don't mean it when they say it. They're not even
Yeah,
trying to say that. I think Sosa said it the best. He said they're basically trying to just instead of
placeholder.
reinventing a whole nother word or something,
Yeah,
right? They just try to, uh, like give you a placeholder so you can kind of understand and follow the conversation.
exactly.
And but you can actually understand that if you can comprehend it. So if you're reading the encyclopedia entry and it gives you the history of science, right? And then you hear something like science in Egypt or whatever it is, or scientific or scientific minds in Egypt and all that stuff. Then when you read the history, you already know,
Yeah,
right? Because you need
yeah,
you, you need that philosophy first to come about
yeah,
that like that. You need
yeah.
certain steps.
Yeah, without that philosophical grounding, right, you need to put it in context, right? The night sky belonged to the netters, right? So the observation was within their cultural container. So we're
Yeah.
going to
Mm,
use you're going to
mm,
use the word astronomy, but there are asterisks and there are quotation marks around it, right? And practice astronomy. No, astronomy belongs firmly within the modern scientific concept, right?
uh-huh.
And it's a whole nother system or practice. What they're saying is the ancients did observations of the night sky. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, they predicted things that was predictable, predictive.
There you
It was
go.
dope. It was
Predictably
dope.
predict.
It was dope. Yeah, with no cigar.
So to make that claim, like they were practicing astronomy, no. Like now that we're
Get
getting
it?
into these conversations, right? Now that we're getting into these conversations, we are going to start to be more precise, demand more accuracy, because as the scientific conversations get deeper, this
Uh-huh.
sort of accuracy and precision is
You
going to
gotta
be
know it.
required.
Yeah. And you gotta throw away your blackology card though. That
Yeah, yeah,
blackology card, it stops you. It's an actual, it's a bias. It doesn't allow you to see it. As soon as you say Europe, you know what I'm saying, you don't give a damn about it. I don't give a damn about the white man science, right? Then all of a sudden everybody cares about the things that they call white for like 20 years they all said that.
yep,
You know what I mean? So come on, man. Try to tell people how I broke away from it. They don't want to listen. Like, and then you get a better feel. You actually get a better feel for what they was doing in West Africa and Egypt and the Congo and different places. You get a better feel for it when you kind of really study to understand what they was doing, right? Not placing anachronistic terms back on them like they was black people, they was this. It forces you to learn their names. It forces you to kind of understand their custom and traditions and spiritual awakening systems, right? To understand their math and
how they lived their lives and what was they thinking about when the sun rose, and their journey, that foundational process that pushed the modern people to the point where we get to the point where actually, nature becomes authority. I think it's a dope journey, yo.
Yep. That's a major transition point right there when nature became the authority. And it is nature that became the authority. Why? Because prior to that, man was the authority.
Yeah.
Regardless of how we explain nature, whether you attribute it to the gods or not, it was man making it up. They simply made it all up.
So let's talk. So the Greek philosophers were the authority. They're men, right?
Yes,
And with some gods, right? And then the
yes.
Egyptians definitely it was the Neter. The Neter
The natures, yeah, the
was
natures
the
was their
authority,
authority. Yes,
right? And Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, Allah is the authority.
yes,
Jesus Christ is the authority.
yes.
Yahweh is the authority. Do y'all kind of get that? Right? It's the thing. It's the thing that the community have preached and nausea to me. Well, Uncle, we know we didn't separate our spirituality from the science. So the whole time you was actually witnessing against yourself when you made that statement, because now I'm in full agreement with you. They never separated that, thus rendering it not science. They may have
Simple.
had scientific thought. You hear that word again? Done things that was
Yo,
scientific. There's
hey,
that word again, right?
yo.
Does not
Pan
equate to
African
science.
Designs. He's saying that he's laughing at me because I told him mathematics is abstract, and I would like for him to come up here so I can prove it to him.
That's literally what it is.
Come
Oh my
on, James.
God.
Yeah,
He just
Oh
laughed.
my
He
don't
just laughed at me. See, this is what I'm saying.
oh my
I
God.
told you
These
earlier
people.
that these guys are trapped. They trapped in a paradigm, right? This word science has become, and look, guess what? We winning because we got all y'all talking about science now. Literally got me talking about science. I ain't beat up Jesus in weeks.
That man crazy, yo. Something wrong with you. Something wrong with you, yo.
I'm just saying, right? So
That ain't
I'm
funny.
showing y'all that a lot of things, the way you all have been taught, we were wrong. It
It's
is what
okay
it
though.
is.
It is
It's
what
part
it
of the,
is.
but it's part of the journey though. They got to embrace the journey. That's what early y'all going through the same processes that early man and women went through.
Come on up
Think
here,
about
Pan
that for a
African
minute.
James. I know it's you. I know it's you on the cover. Come on up here.
You know what? You know what the problem is?
What's up?
They say they take all right. Because, all right, in this conscious community, you came here one of two ways. You came here because you rejected Christianity,
Yeah.
Yep.
or because you learned about your own history and you got more curious and you wanted to learn Black history.
Uh-huh.
So, no matter which way you got here by the white man lied to me. He lied to me about God and he lied to me about my history.
Mm-hmm.
The issue is we take that same skepticism and apply it to science and math, which are universal principles. And then that's how we get caught up into this white man science and we worried about if the ancient Egyptians practiced science or not, because we just want to be able to say, we just want to be able to puff out our chest and say, our people did this and our people did that and our people did this. It's not enough to say we laid the foundation and we're the original people and we invented civilization. That's not enough. It's not enough to say that. Not enough to say that we laid the foundation for the sciences by X, Y, and Z, by the way we built, by our measurements, by the way we track the stars and things of that nature. That's not enough for them. They want to be full fledged, all in, because at a certain point this conscious community becomes people's identity. And when you chip
Mm-hmm.
away at that, you chipping away at their self-esteem because it's not real. Because a lot of people, their self-esteem is based off of what they learned, whether it be spiritual or whether it be historical. So a lot of times we really attacking the core of what people are without realizing it, and that's why we get the pushback that we get.
Mm-mm.
Hey, just remember, man, pseudo's got to eat too.
Yeah, and then there's that because that shit pay.
There
That
you
shit
go
do
with that.
pay. That shit pay.
Yeah.
So
I would say this. Very quick. I know you're trying to get it, Cedric. I would say that the conversations I've been having for 20 years actually challenge your blackology. And the reason they challenge your blackology is because I knew that's how the fuck I got. Excuse my language. Right? There was a weakness there that will allow you to sit in lectures of misinformation on a regular basis and have no tools that would allow you to dissect what the goddamn conversation really was all about. And
Yes,
so
sir.
I was sitting in those lectures, whether it was a Malachi York lecture, whether it was a Dr. Benz lecture, you know what I mean? I never seen him in person, but on tape, right? Phil Valentine, Bobby Hemmett, all of them, Delbert Blair, like I had him on speed dial. I had conversations with the dude, Delbert Blair, before he died. Like, good guy, man. Good guy. You know what I mean? Bobby Hemmett, same thing. You know, good guy. Go to his house, man. It's a sight to see. Good guy, though. Great conversations, right? But it's the blackology that they was promoting that was actually the trap that kept me interested, right? But it was that study of atheism that kind of started to give me weaponry. You get it? So, you know what I'm saying? So because when you study atheism, you get at the root of what it was. It's basically those early philosophers that was going against the state-sponsored religion or the state-sponsored deity, or for those who was trying to give a natural explanation without the gods, right? And so when I bought that, right, it's trying on your blackology. Now today it has reached a full pledge. It's fully blown now. Your blackology is your spidey senses are going off. I can't say Europe without your spidey senses going off. So I get it. You ain't gonna be able to get this unless you put your blackology somewhere. You're not gonna be able to.
But we wanna be clear because see, they doing trickology on us. You see what I'm saying? Remember, 99%, the best lies tell 99% of the truth. They're asking, is math a science? Yes, it is. It's a knowledge. It's based on knowledge. We can agree with that. But is it scientific? No, it's not. And this is what I'm saying. You guys are in there trying to twist everybody's words up because you really don't know. You really don't know.
Yeah, but see, scientific don't equate to science.
Right. That's what I'm trying to tell them. They don't get it. They don't understand the context in which science is being used in the way that they are using the word science here. I pulled this real fast, and this is a quick AI overview from Stanford University. And it says, mathematics is generally not considered a natural science. This is what Preem was saying, because it does not rely on empirical observation. Mathematics is generally considered abstract thought. It's simple.
100%. This is I don't and see that this is indicative of what we're dealing with. This is it's a fundamental lack of understanding. But you match that understanding with a whole lot of arrogance. And it's like a refusal to learn. It's like we stuck on grade school, man. We stuck on high school. That's what we stuck at. We stuck on high school. And it's man.
Shoot. Assistance. You know what it is too. Don't forget that when you learn your blackology, it actually goes against the schooling that you actually learned. Y'all remember that, right?
Yep. Had you in there arguing in history class? Had you arguing in history class with your teacher?
Yep. You forgot. Y'all forgot that. That's part of blackology, yo. That's in European schools y'all learned. Throw that away. Argue with your science teacher. Argue with your history teacher. Man, hey, your kids wild out.
Yeah, nope. We ain't doing that. Yeah, I mean, I understand.
Do you guys in the chat want to see a picture? I brought up a picture for you. It would work. Pictures?
You want me to share screen?
Okay, then.
You want me to share screen?
I'm crazy, yo.
Yeah, man.
Chris
I'm
funny
just
as
saying,
hell.
bro.
Yeah, we hit the 3 hour mark, so I'm start winding down. We will be here tomorrow again, same time, same place, with the next episode. Since y'all want to talk about science, I have no problem going in. Tomorrow we're gonna talk about natural philosophy. See why I'm so grounded? I don't get swayed in the conversation. I don't have to worry what the Egyptian did, how they did it, what the Greeks did, because I understand I understand the framework in which they were operating. And it's simply not science. Science is methodological naturalism. Point blank, simple. So all the rah, 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 rah ain't necessary, ain't taking y'all nowhere. But I'm glad. Like JJ, he spent 10 hours and he studied himself into awareness. Y'all gonna get it eventually. I mean, I've been waiting over 4 years for y'all to catch up. Since now y'all here. Y'all finally understanding these terms a little bit better. I'm gonna continue to break it out so that it becomes a reality for y'all. But science is undefeated. So whatever think you got him, I got him. I got him. Barbershop boys, try again. Try again. Pathetic at best. God killer, you there? Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, let me. I don't know if I could share my screen here. Um, I think Ankh might have fell off or something like that.
Yeah. Maybe got a phone
I'm
call.
right here. Go ahead. Can y'all hear me? Y'all
Yeah,
hear me?
yeah. Yeah, go
Y'all
ahead.
hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. You
Yeah,
can.
What? I want to say what I say.
No, we didn't hear what you were saying. I said I agree with about the 3 hour mark. I'm winding down the show, so we're
Oh, I
going to
say go
chat
ahead and do
again.
another 3 hours, man. Come on, man. What you doing? Yo, we got come on,
No, Chris.
man.
No, Chris. No, Chris was trying to share a screen.
Go ahead, Chris.
Go ahead. Let me see if I can do this.
Yeah, just look at the
Okay.
bottom.
Yeah, I just want to do this real quick. This is simple, right? You have to show them pictures, Ankh. You have to give them pictures, okay? All right. It's like grade school.
Boy, I tell you.
Okay. Let me pull this right quick. I'm just I'm a bully. I don't care. Give me a second. I'm gonna get this up. And no huddle offense. All right, here we go. Let me get this up right quick. All right, here we go. All right. Gotta show him pictures. So it makes it easier to understand because he doesn't understand what abstract is. And I was shocked. As an adult, they don't understand what why math is abstract. Here, there it is, right there. Cedric, correct me if I'm wrong. This is why mathematics is abstract. The real
Yes,
world
sir.
uses concrete objects, phenomena, which is a physical reality. You see, but the
That's
math
true.
world uses abstract thoughts, shapes, wavelengths, spheres, cubes, things like that, formulaic equations, sir. That's why it's based on abstract thought, you dummy. Just wanted to show that to you. Just wanted to show it to you. I'm not just on a phone all day. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? Jumping on Grammy-nominated, award-winning artists and things like that, making a fool of myself. So with that being said, guys, hey, thank you for letting me up, man. Oh shit, what's up, Amir? How you doing, bro?
Amir.
What's happening? How y'all doing? Peace and love to the panel.
Peace, peace. How you doing,
I
man?
say,
Hey.
I salami and bacon.
Peace,
I didn't
peace,
say
peace,
that.
peace be with you, brother. Peace be with you, bro.
I didn't say that.
This is not a religious bill. So I greet you in English. Peace be upon you. But I say this though. I, say, I say this though. I'm just here to say that racism really destroys people from learning. It doesn't matter from what angle it comes from, whether it's white supremacy or the ideology of black supremacy. It blocks you from really interacting with life and society and fully getting a real understanding of how things work. The Englishman or the British person or the people in England is just as connected to the African Americans or Africans of the diaspora as the people in the continent of Africa. All humans belong to one thing right now. We're all an African ape, regardless. So this racial thing that people are using to say, well, this came from these people first and we did this first, there's no such thing. The species did it first, regardless to what region it came from. The species that we represent did it. So I think that when we start to get caught up in black and white and this and that, this is what damages us. And it blocks us from fully getting a full understanding of what is, and then we try to pigeonhole things, so we understand the proto phases of what we went through before getting to where we are now, but it all played a role from our species, and I think that we should we should appreciate what our species done regardless of what part of the world our species was in. That's just a reality. Race is not real. So racism is creating these divisions. And I also want to say a lot of in the earlier inceptions of us in the conscious community, a lot of us had misinformation. A lot of us had pseudoscience or pseudo information, and it paved way for us to understand where we are now. How would you know right if you never went through wrong? And we were wrong about a lot of shit, right? We were. But a lot of things that we said in the past was a reaction of pseudo white philosophy. That's just a
Mm,
reality.
mm.
That's
It's
true.
reactionary. Now we at this point where we can reject what we need to reject and take in what we need to take in, and we build from there. That's it.
That is beautifully and
That's a hell of a
eloquently said.
build there, bro.
I always keep saying scientific literacy moves you away from racism and allows you to embrace humanity and appreciate our triumph as a species. You're absolutely right.
I'm telling you, brothers, it feels much better to see us as a species as a whole than to get caught up in these brackets. Because when you do that, you limit yourself. And a lot of the things in the so-called conscious community blocked a lot of people from doing a lot of things that they could have accomplished. But they
Yeah.
created a phobia.
Mm.
They
Mm.
created
Yeah, yeah,
phobia and didn't allow
yeah.
themselves to do a lot of things. So that means you
Mm-hmm.
have time being wasted, and a lot of time is wasted fucking with this crap. You look back like, damn, I was saying that 10 years ago. Damn, I wasted that much time. You know what I'm saying? It's dangerous,
Yes, sir.
bro.
Pass
Yes,
it on
sir.
to your kids, Gozy. You right. You pass that phobia on to your kids. I know I didn't do that though. I made sure. But luckily I ran into the scientific conversation, right? So yeah, if you don't have that, that black allergy had you defunct, yo. Yeah, I agree
That's
with you
for sure.
100%, bro. You ain't got nothing else to add, Gozy?
No, James said like saying North African, dude. James, I don't care about African is an African. I don't give a damn how they look. You caught up in that. You're worried about skinology. I'm
Yeah,
not into skinhead philosophy. I don't care about that. I don't care about what they look like. I don't care if the
right,
motherfuckers got pale white skin like milk
right,
or dark as tar. If they on
right.
the continent, they ass is, that's what they are. I don't care. I'm not looking for that no more. Y'all still fighting over that, not me.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
You got to follow his page. Follow Ngozi Facebook page. He do a lot of his work on his Facebook page. Put a lot of imagery up there. A lot of great explanation. He got a lot. He has a lot. He has professional people that is actually adding to commentary on his page. It's a great learning environment on his Facebook page, yo. I don't get on his page
Yeah.
talking crazy. I don't do nothing. It's a great learning environment. So go ahead and follow him. What name you going under on that page?
Justice
Justice
Amir. The
Amir?
picture you see
Yeah.
here, yeah, the picture you
Uh-huh.
see here, you guys should see it. But check it out. It's a good bill.
Justice Amir. Okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Peace.
Make sure y'all friend them and get on that. Great work.
Yeah, man. Look here. Subscribe to the Psuedokillas channel if you haven't subscribed. Share the show. We are all about accurate information over here. We are all about precision. We are not bound by race. We are not bound by ideology. We are bound by scientific literacy and
Hmm.
transmitting correct information. Unc was just doing what he does, and now we are in the middle of the streets. But you know what happened? Y'all in the middle of the streets to get exposed because science is undefeated. And y'all gonna learn. Y'all gonna learn.
That's a you know what I tell you what though, they think when they hear you say or me say or Ngozi say it or anybody else who has
who tapping into, I would say, their intelligence, they think when you say that, right? When you say it ain't about race and all that, they think that meant that you do not know and understand your history. What is really
No.
telling the world is that I truly understand my history. I
Yes, sir.
truly get it. I truly recognize the agency that these indigenous people should have. These indigenous Africans should have. These prehistoric human beings who endured without having science, who,
KL,
who
hit
came
that
together
link,
with
bro.
great herbs and great, you know what I'm saying, great technology without
Yes, sir.
science, who had
Just
to
a
fight
second.
against nature.
I need KL. KL, I need you to hit that link, bro. Please. I've done it before, but since you're here, I need you to hit that link. Come up here, bro.
So that's important. It doesn't mean that we have forgotten any of that, right? It doesn't mean that we forgot the transcontinental slave trade that our ancestry went through. And just
Hell no.
because we was confused about Egypt and thought we was Egyptians, you know what I'm saying? It was that blackology that drew us to Egypt. It was the European colonialism that made us have to say that we're black and we're proud. In the 1700s, they did that to us and our mind thinking. And so, as we break the traditions of our elders and break the pattern of racism, white supremacy, we refuse to look back in the past and apply misinformation to people who had their own agency, their own ideas. They never needed science to reach great heights in civilization and honor amongst men and women. I just want to leave y'all with that piece right there and know who the hell you fucking with when you talking to me. That's my
Yes,
whole
sir.
point.
For sure. Now, Kanye is in the building. I asked him to jump up on the panel, but if he doesn't jump up before we get off, I said it before, said it again. I got caught up in the nonsense that these individuals were doing. They are your friends, and they put you out there, and I fell for the bait. Right? It wasn't the intent nor the structure of the conversation we were having. So, my brother, you are not a liar. You didn't have any bad intentions, so I apologize, my bro. I fell for the okey doke, and while I was doing my presentation right here, it just came to me, and I apologize to you several times during the presentation. But now you're in the chat, man, bro. I'm my bad. I'm sorry. All right, I fell for the okey doke. All right, they put you in the middle of the street as if that was your intent, and that was never your intent, my good bro. So accept my apology.
That's a good way to end that show, ain't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right. Well, pseudo killers, man.
You know me. I'm like clockwork. I'll be back tomorrow. I got a series of presentations. We slow the conversation down. Tomorrow, we're going to explore what natural philosophy is so
Get on
that we
that
don't
channel.
get confused and get drawn into unnecessary conversations about what the Egyptians did and what the Greeks did, what the Islamic Revolution did. They simply weren't there yet. Their philosophical framework was not methodological naturalism, which is science. With that, folks, I'm going to take us out.
Decided by the loudest class. We question it all, no sacred ground. If it don't hold up, we break it down. This that set talk, yeah, we live in direct. No fear in the facts, just intellectual respect. No more, no mirror, no fantasy, just truth, logic, and consistency. Yeah. Welcome to Ced Talks, where we separate fact from fiction. Mess it up amid every time. This that Ced Talk, yeah, we set it straight. Cut through the noise, elevate the debate. No pseudo talk, no foggy claims. Just evidence-based when we build these frames. Ced Talks, yeah, clarity first. If it ain't got method, it probably won't work. From ancient knowledge to modern science, we draw that line, that clear define. They say the ancients had science. Hold up, pause. Knowledge ain't the same as methodological laws. Observation, yeah, but control tests rare. No predictive models, you gotta be fair. We respect the past, but we keep it exact. Precision matters when you deal with facts. Astronomy grew, astrology split. One stayed empirical, one lean myth. The shift came through a naturalistic method. Just stand revised, that's how we embed it. Not culture bound, not tied to a place. It's a universal tool for the human race. This guy said talks, yeah, he said it straight. Cut through the noise, elevate the debate. No pseudo talk, no foggy claims. Just evidence breaks when we build these frames. Ced Talks, yeah, clarity first. If it ain't got method, it probably won't work. From ancient knowledge to modern science, we draw that line, that clear defiance. They blur definitions, start moving the goalposts. Turn fried to a claim that don't hold close. Science ain't on, this a process refined. Independent of culture, space and time. You can't redefine it to fit identity. That's how you lose all epistemic integrity. We test every claim, we don't just believe. If it can't be verified, we don't receive. From early observers to labs today, it's rigor and doubt that pave the way. Not name dropping scholars to win a debate, but data and method that validate. So what's your ideology? That's cool to ask, but truth ain't decided by the loudest class. We question it all, no sacred ground. If it don't hold up, we break it down. This that Ced Talk, yeah, we live in direct. No fear in the facts, just intellectual respect. No hope, no mirror, no fantasy, just truth, logic, and consistency.
And with that, we out.